Good evening, ladies. How are we today?
Amen.
Hi. Yeah. So how you doing today?
Right here. I mean, long day, but here I am.
Okay, very good. You ready for the presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I did ask last week if persons wanted to start at 6:30. They said no, right?
I couldn't remember, but I say, let me come on at 6 anyhow.
Yeah, it's 6, and I don't see anybody here. So I am
Maybe they
almost certain
thinking
that
6:30.
everybody agreed to 6 p.m. They said I didn't need to change it. Vanique, what about you? You remember? Is Vanique there?
Maybe she ain't there yet. Oh, yeah, she there.
She there, but okay, so I thought it said, everybody said stay. Just I was about to just start chapter 8 and let it be recorded.
Okay.
Okay,
so we can do the presentation at the NA.
We'll do it, but nobody here, so we really don't have a choice.
That's true.
Yeah, y'all got some grades today for what y'all submitted so far for the presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So how is the mentoring going? Have you started that yet or no?
I have a person, but I trying to figure out, okay, so should I ask her to set a goal we trying to achieve by the end of the 6 weeks or something?
Yeah, you could, if that would make it easier for you. Or you could ask her like any difficulties she having or any issues you could help us solve. Like she may say, I'm not doing so well in school.
Okay.
So then you will just arrange 1 or 2 study groups with her to say, is it math or English or whatever, and let's go through your maths, or let's go, or give her some studying tips.
Well, this my actual team. Well, she's a part of my team, but she's new in her receptionist role.
Okay.
So I probably can, I know the challenges she having. I just probably got to come up with some solutions she could probably try.
Right.
To help her manage the desk better.
Right. Okay, that's a good idea. And then you could ask her too, from her point of view, what, how does she feel? Or what would help? And then you have to be trying to break away from people making suggestions and none of them make sense, right? Or we can't implement any of them. So you have to pick out of what she says while she is talking, write down like 5 things that she says, and you have to try and work on one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
One, at least one, so let's practice with just taking one into consideration and say, okay. And even if it doesn't work in the end, you could say, well, I really wanted to look at it from your point of view and try this, and hopefully it's successful. And then if it isn't, just say, but it didn't quite work out. But
okay,
something like that. Follow through, but try.
Okay,
try.
I can try. I can get started on that tomorrow.
Okay. Good, because we don't want the 6 weeks to run past us, and then we want it to be, a lot of people is just stand up in class and make some stuff up, and you could tell that it made up and it wasn't really effective. But if you do intend to be a supervisor, or at one point in your career you are, at least you would have had some practice.
Boy, Miss Bullet, I know if I won't. When I finish this cross training, I think I can just tell them that's all right.
but do it. Let me tell you, my suggestion is do it while you're young. As you get older, your tolerances are gonna decrease, and it's gonna be more difficult. So don't ever miss up an opportunity.
No, I can complete it. I just, if they was to actually offer me the position, I don't know if it's worth it.
Do it. It won't be worth it, but it won't be worth it now. 10 years from now, perhaps. Okay, but everybody who wants to be on the executive team needs to have at least 2 or 3 years of people management. Okay, and so I know the young people like convenience and they like the microwave, but this will probably help you achieve your long-term goal. Okay, so
that's fine.
This right now ain't for you. This for you to benefit later on. You get what I say?
I can look at it like that
Yeah,
then, but because
yeah.
Lord
No.
knows.
Yeah, long-term goals will be achieved if you go through this process now. Don't put it off.
Okay.
Yeah, don't put it off.
Good thing I talked to you, Miss Buddy.
Yeah, no,
I
yeah,
could just
don't put it
now.
off. But you go in it with open-mindedness, knowing that, hey, this is training. This isn't in, the rest of my career, but this training process will help me make, more sound, well-rounded decisions when I get to
Good
the
afternoon,
executive
everyone.
level.
Good afternoon. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. Okay, guys. Welcome. I'm happy to see that some of you are here. Again, like the homework, I got a very small amount of people submit their information. As you can see, most of you would have received part of your grade already. The cross marker issued, she went through them and she issued the grade for the presentation so far. I think you would have gotten up to 50%. And I was pleased to see that most of you that submitted got that 50%. So yeah, very good. Now, hopefully, I don't know if the persons are gonna come to class or not, but next week is review for your midterm exam. I am going to send out a review sheet this week. Your name will be assigned to a question, and the expectation is that you come and give, some feedback on the topic. We'll brainstorm and think about what would be the possible questions, and you'll share with the class. Now, again, the review is only for your benefit. And so if I give you chapter 8 and you don't bring anything, then the class suffers, and then everybody just has to study chapter 8 on their own. Okay, so I would ask that all of you be fair to your other classmates and ensure that you go through the chapter and you cover as much ground in the chapter as possible, so you will give good feedback. So I'm gonna send that review sheet out with your names. Okay, but to make it easier, if your brain better than Miss Bullet, or which it should be, please let me know which chapters you have been assigned to already as the reader, because that means you already have some in-depth knowledge, and that would, I think, would make it easier for you to pull out the, the pieces that we need that would assist everybody in the midterm. Remember that the midterm is in person. You on the 26th, you show up to the Institute, Miss Dean, and she'll be there to present you with a nice little gift. You'll spend 3 hours there, and then you'll get your grade the following. Okay, so all of you should know where the Institute is. All of you should have been there to collect your book. So please make sure you know how to access, you know where to park. Please take nothing other than your keys and a pen. And the mass is no longer, so next week we'll discuss more about the exam. It is going to be recorded, so please, we ask for no incidences. The institute can accommodate bags. Cell phones are not allowed. But like I said, we'll go more in depth for the persons who have not sat an exam at the institute as yet.
Ms.
Okay.
Bullet, not to cut you off, Ms. Bullet.
Mhm.
The midterm is going to be on the week of the 26th.
Yeah, so let's look at the agenda. To
I
make
don't
sure
know.
what's on.
Yeah, I'm traveling.
Okay. So
So,
how
is
when
it
would, so you need to make an additional arrangement.
right?
So we
Is
need a whole exam just for you. Okay, so Wednesday, October the 26th, you won't be
no more.
on the island.
I'm
Okay.
Yeah.
When are you leaving?
I leave the 22nd.
When is the 22nd?
That's the Saturday before.
The Saturday before?
That's all.
Okay. Would you be able to take the exam on the 21st, which is that Friday before you leave?
I could take it on the 20th.
Okay, well, we're gonna send out the review sheet. I'll send that out then tonight. So at least you will start to peruse it, and then when you chime in on class on the 19th, at least you'll get some ideas outside of your own. And then we'll schedule you to take it on the 20th at 6 p.m. That's good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll get the test bank to shoot out another test for you. I'll let Miss Dean know that tomorrow. Okay, good. Sydney, let me make a note. For some reason, my pen ain't writing, my pencil broke. Miss Bullet having all kind of problems. But let me know what chapter you covered so I can make it easier for you to pull out points.
You mean me, Miss Bella?
Yeah, you did any of the chapters yet?
I mean, in terms of reading in class?
Yeah.
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. Lanique, what chapter did you do?
I did chapter 3.
Okay, Lanique did chapter 3. Vanique, what chapter did you do? No, Vanique still not there. Did
I see
anybody
her
else
mic
put?
unmuted. But maybe she having some challenges. Type it in the chat, Fanique, if you could.
So I guess, okay, Krista, did you do chapter 3?
Hi, good night, everyone. No, I didn't get to any chapters. I didn't do any chapters as yet.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah,
Okay,
I think you were absent.
Fanique type in the chat, she did chapter 9.
Okay. Yeah, because I had a list, but yeah, Krista, you wasn't here. And I think Candice did 12. And Lyndon did 1. Yeah, okay. So that's the 4 chapters. So we still have Robert, Sydney, Krista. That's here. Okay. So I see that more persons are here now. I guess we can start with the presentations.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Ms. Willard. Y'all can hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. How are you
Yeah.
today?
Okay, great.
How are you today, Renee?
I am doing well. I typed in the chat, I said, I think I did chapter 9 because I read, that was the first week, I think, or the second week.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just asking so I can schedule you for the review. Next week, we're gonna have review for the midterm that's gonna be on the 26th in person. Okay?
Okay, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so like I said, most of you would have gotten your grades back today for the submission. And I guess we'll go with the presentations now. As you can see, 10% is for participation, answering questions and accepting the critiques. 50% was what you submitted last night, and 40% will be a presentation today. Okay, so we are going to assign a person just to give you some constructive criticism, nothing offensive, on your presentation, and then give you some feedback. And then we hope that persons will have questions that you can possibly answer. Okay, so please, everybody, pay attention. All of this will be a part of your grade, whether you're critiquing or if you're asking questions or if you're answering. Okay, so remember, this class is supposed to be discussion based and everybody is supposed to participate. Okay, so like last week, I ask you to be prepared to present, as well as have your mics on and your cameras on whilst you are presenting. Once you finish presenting and answering questions, you may turn it off. Okay. We have our cross marker as well, watching to ensure, I guess, we all agree on the final grade for this presentation. Okay. So if anybody would like to volunteer, just let me know to start, or I can just, if everybody should be prepared by now, I will just call names and ask persons to start. Somebody wants to volunteer, or should I just select somebody? Nobody wants to volunteer to start? Okay, let's start with Sydney. Sydney?
Ms. Ballard, I had a feeling you was going me first.
But Sydney, we are future leaders, and all of this is to prepare us for the future. Okay, so use us. You use us to practice on. Okay,
Yes.
I know it's a little bit intimidating, but you can do it. Okay, and I know that you will do well. So far, in everything that you submitted, you've been extremely successful. So continue on that path.
That's one.
Okay, excellent, Sydney. Now, I'm going to ask Monique to critique you, Sydney, as well as give you feedback.
All right.
And everybody else is allowed to answer questions or chime in, or, give feedback or comments.
That's one.
Okay, great. Go ahead. Lanique, you prepared?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Go ahead, Sydney.
Good evening again, everybody. All right, so my topic is how relationships affect leadership. Relationships are the foundations of leadership. John C. Maxwell. A leader can be described as many things. However, leadership is only effective based on the relationships you keep. A relationship is defined by Google as the way in which two or more people or things are connected. Do you know that the effectiveness of your team is based on your relationships you've built? There are many types of relationships, but what effect do they have on you? Some forms of relationships are familiar relationships, romantic relationships, friendships, and workplace relationships. 3 ways relationships affect leadership are: 1, it positively or negatively alters the team morale. Leadership can increase your productivity. Your relationships can increase your productivity. And lastly, poor relationships can cause a poor display of character. Firstly, relationships affect team morale. Have you ever heard the saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link? A good relationship with your team effectively builds trust, confidence, and employee engagement. What happens when a relationship is not so pleasant? Team members begin to rebel and stray away from the goals that are set. In a workplace, there should be a balance between teaching and punishing. An effective leader builds their team by teaching what it means to work together and being your brother's keeper. Every relationship does not begin positively. However, as a leader, it is our responsibility to turn the employee relationship around. Secondly, relationships increase productivity. When employees feel appreciated, they perform much more confidently. The most important catalyst for production is confidence. Having conversations with direct reports makes the job feel a little less hard. Productivity can be more than just results-based. Productivity can be as simple as being to work on time, assisting with sundry duties, or even taking an initiative to complete tasks with a specific deadline. Lastly, poor relationships can cause a poor display of character. The relationships you build speak to one's character. Poor interpersonal skills usually lead to difficulties in making and attaining lasting relationships. These deficiencies can lead to insensitivity with family members, friends, and people outside of the workplace. The relationships kept outside of the work environment also affect the quality and stability level of one's work in the workplace. Negative relationships cause negative characteristics. In conclusion, a relationship may seem minimal. However, a great relationship is the foundation for a lasting and budding leader. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. A quote John C. Maxwell penned, and it could not be any much truer. Being a leader means more than just being autocratic. It involves being an HR worker, a counselor, and even a therapist. The moral of your team depends definitely on their leader. Productivity can be tied to a leader's ethics, and a leader must always show the ability to be a people's person. Thank you.
Excellent, Sydney. That was very good. Lanique, please critique Sydney as well as give him feedback.
Okay, that was very good, Sydney. So I'm gonna do the sandwich method. So you had very good eye contact. You kept engaged with the camera, which is hard to do. Relevant and valid points, especially the one that said, when you talked about the simple ways of showing productivity, like coming into work on time and doing the sundry duties, those small things, I agree with you, they do make a difference to productivity. And you know, when you, when you cited Google, I don't know if you could cite Google itself. Like, I know that come from a site. So next time, just say what site it come from instead of saying Google. But overall, it was very good, very engaging. And I really enjoyed the topic, the points for the topic. It was relevant.
Thank you.
Okay, very good, Lanique. Thank you so much. Anybody have questions for Sydney? No? Okay, Sydney, I have 3 then to make up for everybody else who is not getting 1 point for asking you a question. Okay, so you said you said something about, and you probably need to repeat it for me, something to the fact that you need to be a counselor, a therapist. Could you go back to that and repeat that for me, please?
All right, I said
Yeah, almost last paragraph.
right. So being a leader means more than just being autocratic. It involves being an HR worker, a counselor, and even a therapist.
Okay, so my question is, how do you get training to be qualified to wear all these hats?
Well, firstly, it begins with just being a BIVS, making sure you know as a leader how to take criticism when you're not doing something right. Being able to put yourself in another employee's shoes, being sympathetic and empathetic, and also just learning your job, getting cross-training in different positions in the bank, so that if the opportunity presents itself, you have the opportunity or you have the capabilities to showcase what you've learned in the various different roles to help us.
So this ain't necessarily, you didn't necessarily mean go to school, but you have to have
people skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, and then you talked about diversity, building relationships with people that you work with. Okay, I'm a transgender male, and I want to use the male bathroom. Instead, the bathroom issue is a big thing now, and gender equality. As a supervisor, how do you convince yourself, first of all, that this is okay, that Miss Bullet showing up in the male bathroom? And then how do you convince your staff that we live in a diverse world? Scotiabank is a diverse employer, and this is different for us, but we have to accept it.
Well, the first thing is, I may be a person who doesn't have that issue where it's not something that I'm handling, but I may have something else that someone else isn't comfortable with. So being able to, give and take, like each of us have our own problems, So putting myself in that employee's shoes to see how they'd feel about the situation, making sure that I don't make them feel,
So
left.
when Miss Bullet show up to the bathroom and you in there, you were walking out.
Honestly, for me, it ain't a big, I wouldn't say it ain't a big deal, but it ain't much of a bother to me, simply because it ain't my bank, so I can't enforce my own personal values and Scotiabank's workplace. I have to
Okay.
follow, what
So-
they in place. As
So
long
you'll
as
give ya- Sorry, go ahead.
it isn't something that they force me to do, like, oh, I have to partake in this. Once it doesn't affect me personally, I could, accommodate having someone and their beliefs.
Okay, okay, very good. So I'm your female staff and it's the other way around. A male now resignates as female and wants to come into the female bathroom. And I'm saying, but Sydney, a man in the bathroom and I in there, I afraid.
Well, it comes down to the ethics too. I mean, if there is a concern to me, that they feel uncomfortable, it's a chain of command and it's a valid escalation, because they then now feel uncomfortable in the workplace. So it may not be something that I could, handle for them right then and there. However, going up the chain of command just to make sure we follow the right procedures and policies, or making sure everybody feels welcome, because the transgenders issue, maybe they want to be in the women's bathroom. However, as someone who's not a transgender, you feel some type of way about it because you now feel uncomfortable. So we have to make sure that everybody is, heard in the same way and not just focus on certain person's issues.
Okay, agreed, agreed. And my last question, you said that every relationship doesn't start out positive or in a positive light.
Right.
What advice, like, because first impressions are lasting, and I meet you like a few of y'all just met me a few weeks ago, and I just don't take them as bullish, So how do we turn that around? How do you not give up on me if we're up, for our first impression or it isn't positive? Well, what advice could you give me to hang in there?
Well, the first thing, in most scenarios, the reason that happens is because persons may say, oh, Miss Bullet is this type of person, and they paint a picture to you of who Miss Bullet is, but you haven't gotten to know Miss Bullet for who she is. So just being able to, try to find some type of common ground, because in the first instance, we work together, we around each other more than our family. So it's gonna be times where I'm gonna have to lean on you for support and vice versa. You lean on me for support. So just being able to build small conversation, if it starts with that, if someone needs help, don't be like, oh, me and Miss Bullet don't talk. So
Yeah, I can't deal with that.
So just making sure, extending the courtesy to another employee, and that goes a long way, because sometimes they may feel like it was you who was unapproachable, whereas they didn't feel like they could have approached you because of what people said to them. So just being able to be open to persons coming to you as a supervisor, it makes that environment less toxic, and it makes for a better team morale.
Okay, excellent, Sydney. I'm very pleased. I'm inspired by your words, and I thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay, Krista has a hand up. Krista, do you have a question for Sydney? Or you just have a question?
Yes, I did. I have a question for Sydney. My question would be, how would you balance workplace relationships and friendships as a new supervisor?
All right, so personally, for me, myself, I'm a very easygoing person. I get along with anybody. It isn't hard to get along with me now. So relationships aren't something that's hard for me to build. However, being in a senior role, and it's often in instances where I've had to fill it, you kind of have to separate, we just laugh up and kiki all day. But now that, the roles have changed, I have to put more emphasis where maybe I could tell you, that ain't a big deal. However, sitting in a supervisory role, you now have to manage different personalities and different persons, thinking of it from a perspective of being a, let's say, for example, a teller or a customer service officer. You could say, oh, I run in 5 minutes late, telling you that to your supervisor. However, now that you're the supervisor, you now have to make accommodations to say, okay, Krista running 5 minutes late, therefore I have to make accommodations to make sure that the business can still run. So it's more of a leadership role, as it states. It's more of a leadership role because you now have to plan, and you also have to make sure that things can be done no matter what circumstance you're faced with. It's just a matter of making sure you be open when you're supervised, and when you have to be hard, you be hard. Use the sandwich approach. Tell them the good news, the little harsh news, and then butter them back up.
Okay, I agree with you all the way. I have another question for you. Okay, so in some instances, there are some businesses that require certain skills over others. That's my question to you. Do you agree with that statement that there may be a place where technical skills are more relevant or more needed than interpersonal skills? Or do you feel, how do you feel? Do you feel as like one over the next? Is that a possibility? Which one would you prefer? Or which one you feel, and do you feel, that's two questions. Do you feel that there's businesses where they would require technical skills over interpersonal skills? Is that a possibility? Or have you ever seen that before? And in your own personal instance, which one do you think is more stronger to have, technical skills or personal skills as a supervisor?
All right. So for me, technical skills can be learned. Someone can learn how to be computer savvy. Someone can learn how to do the job. However, like interpersonal skills, that's something that's you. Like you can't teach somebody how to speak to people, or you can't teach somebody how to be courteous or sympathetic. That's a you thing. Versus technical skills, anybody can really learn once they put the time and effort into let's say it's Word, Excel, whatever software it is. You could learn that, but you can't learn how to be a people's person. And I could say it's usually said that like institutions usually look for characteristics in a person over like qualifications. I mean, I don't know if that's 100% true, but they always look for someone who has good behavior, good people skills over someone who knows the job but rude to every customer, or like promotion wise. They always look for someone who is more open to being, taught, instead of someone who's, just think how to do it but know the work. That makes sense.
It does. Wonderful job. Thank you.
Yeah, very, very good, Sydney. And I agree. Like the old way is that you next in line, you've been here for 30 years, you know how to do the job. So use the supervisor, no interpersonal skills at all. And you're dealing with human beings. Those type of persons need to stay in the background because they make a toxic work environment.
Right.
Okay, so we want to move away completely because you have your CPA or because you know the job. But like you say, those things can be learned. You could go to school and get this degree. Some of these ethics and the human factor and just being kind, the things that we don't value anymore, you have to have that within you. Okay, so I agree 100%. And another takeaway is that you said 8 hours a day, 8 hours to sleep, 8 hours to work, and 8 hours to spend with your family. Okay, but that 9 to 5, try to make it as happy as possible or comfortable as possible. And you don't have to like everyone, and you don't have to be friendly with everyone, but you have to respect everyone, and you have to be like this the Scotiabank, not Sydney and Go. And so therefore, their motto, their vision, their goals. Okay, so don't be paying to be around 8 hours, and don't make a toxic environment for 8 hours a day. Only 24 in the day, and eight you're supposed to be asleep. So that's really only what, 16? Please make that the most comfortable 16 hours possible, because sometimes it's end up into 60, 8-hour days end up into 12 or 16-hour days. Okay, so look at your space and try create some ambience and make it as peaceful as possible with the people you like and the people you don't like. All right. Okay, so very good. Excellent. I already feel inspired. So thank you very much, Sydney.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Candice. Candice, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. And we'll ask Sydney to critique Candice and give her feedback.
I can start now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What if a multi-million company hired someone that was just graduating from high school as their new CEO? What if a church ordained a 5-year-old as their new senior pastor? I believe that anyone can be trained, but without the knowledge and experience required to be a CEO, how will the company survive? How can a toddler lead a church if he's just learning how to understand things for himself? The topic of which I will be speaking to you this evening is knowledge and leadership. With the right amount of focus and commitment, some of us have an inner leader that just needs the right amount of knowledge to breathe life into them. A few ways in which we can gain knowledge and eventually become an effective leader is by getting an education, daily reading, and learning from others who have been in the position in which we are trying to reach. Obtaining an education doesn't only prepare you for the workplace, but helps you in your everyday life. It not only refers to getting a college degree, but completing courses and certificates that makes you someone that is marketable. By doing this, you are catering to your personal growth and preparing yourself to become an effective leader. You are now able to teach others that which you've learned and steer persons in the direction of their dreams by sharing your experiences and how pursuing an education has benefited you. Nowadays, teaching and/or reaching out to others to share your story has become so easy now with all of the social media platforms that we have right at our fingertips. My advice is to take advantage of these and you will touch many lives instantly. Another way you can gain knowledge is by reading. Reading is an essential way of learning. It expands your mind and transforms the way that you think. It broadens your vocabulary, and now your conversations and the way in which you speak is different. This too can be beneficial to you in the workplace, daily life, and helps you with becoming a great leader. The more you read, the more you'll be able to share with others what you have learned. Apart from books, articles, newspapers, and blogs are also a great way for you to gain information. You learn things about sports, different countries, cultures, the stock markets, all from just taking a few minutes out of your day to read. Lastly, having someone that you can learn from is another step towards gaining knowledge. Having a mentor provides guidance and helps you to becoming a leader. They serve as a source of knowledge and supports your growth as an upcoming leader. Learning from their experiences can help you in learning what to do from what not to do. Remember that in order to become an effective leader, you must first learn how to be a student. Having knowledge along with experience can catapult you to becoming a leader that is worth learning from. Expanding your knowledge by reading, sharpening your skills through education, and confiding in someone that can trust you can trust, that can steer you in the right direction, can lead you to great success. Remaining focused and committed to gaining all of the knowledge that you desire to obtain can breed an exceptional leader. is it going to be you? I'm done. Hello?
Hi, Sydney.
That's fine. All right. So I really like Candace, how you use questions. The questions really, gauge your mind, get you thinking about, what it is exactly, it puts you in that perspective. And I really like how you use that. I have a few questions though, in terms of the points that you raised. All right.
Okay.
So in terms of education, you touched on the fact that, going to school, going to school doesn't really make you a leader. So how do you feel like qualification? How do you feel, or do you feel like the qualifications warrant you getting certain jobs over the experience?
Say the last part again.
I said, do you feel like qualifications warrant or qualify you for jobs over experience? Like, let's say you just come out of school and
Right.
you apply for a job and you don't get it because they say you ain't as qualified or whatever.
Right. I think having experience holds precedence, but my point exactly in my speech in terms of getting an education was about the part gaining knowledge, because there's so many ways that you can gain knowledge, and getting an education is one of them. So I agree with you in terms, sometimes you don't have to have an degree in order to get a job, but if you have experience, I feel like that can really help you in getting a job.
All right, good stuff. And one more question I had, you said also learning from others. In our culture, a lot of persons, especially the old regime, they feel like the younger people, threatening their job. So how would you cope with a person who doesn't share their knowledge with you because they feel like their job is in jeopardy by you?
Lord. I think there are different people in the company that you can gain knowledge from. So if there's somebody in a particular position that you want to be in who isn't really giving you the advice that you need, there's always somebody else who is willing and who is open. So I would say to try somebody else. Don't just keep bugging that one person after you've realized that you're not getting any answers or getting any results from them. Try somebody else, somebody who is more open, somebody who is more willing to help you to get to where you want to be.
All right, good stuff. All the questions I have, but I really enjoyed. See.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sydney. I guess I have a question and some comments.
Okay.
To Sydney's question, companies need this. This is a big problem where the older people who've been there for 40 years feel like they will be replaced by the younger person, so they're not forthcoming. I even had a person who was there for 40 years and thought she should have been selected for manager. She had absolutely no people skills, so they brought in somebody else. And the silly thing that the company did was to tell her to train that new person. She gave that new person all the wrong information and then said, well, she is the manager, she should have known better. Okay, wasted a year of training, giving her, just telling her everything wrong, all sorts of central bank reports, everything went in incorrectly because the lady was completely, just giving the wrong information. So companies need to put a proper succession planning in place so that the older employees know that, hey, I've already been here 40 years, it's time for me to go home, but let's go on a 5-year span to let you go home. So you could make some plans for your mortgage and for your children and all these different things, and probably give you some financial planning to help you exit the system, but leave that knowledge or pass it on to somebody. So it needs to be structured properly, and one of the reports that we actually sent to central bank, I think under the anti-money laundering return that we submit each year, a succession plan has to be in there. Okay, it's still not rolled out properly, but I beg that the younger generation push, because that's the only way these older people don't feel like they have to secure their job, or they can't. They can't train you. My question is, you said reading, most difficult thing in the world. They say if you want to hide something, put it in a book. What advice can you give us to be able to discipline ourselves enough to read? What works
I
for
know
you?
sometimes. Okay,
You
I
read
know
it?
sometimes.
Are you a reader?
I actually prefer audiobooks.
Okay.
So I know sometimes when we think of reading, we think about this thick book that is gonna take us forever to get through. And I feel like sometimes reading a short article, or even if you read maybe a paragraph or two out of a newspaper, you're still learning information. I'm not saying that you have to sit down and read the whole thing, but if you read a little bit here and there, eventually you would start to gain the information or gain some knowledge of which you didn't have before. And then another way that you can do it, if you're not someone like me that prefers sitting down reading all day, you can listen to audiobooks.
Okay, good. Thank you for that, Miss Bullet. We'll try that. And Miss Bullet is forced to
Yes.
read. And my last question, back to something that I guess Sydney said. Do you have mentors? Because he talked about experience, right, over education. But
Right.
let's say you're 20 something, you're 21. Are you being mentored? Is somebody talking to you about relationships, about finance, about parenting, about your career, about life? Is somebody?
Me personally,
do you have a mentor?
yeah.
You do have a
Yes,
mentor. Okay.
I do.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I have a mentor for different things.
Okay. So it ain't just trial and error and any backup tools, or you just learning from your own experience.
Right. And another great thing too is at my job, we have a mentorship program. You don't have to have a mentor if you don't want to, but we have a mentorship program where we have mentors. You get to pick a mentor. You be with that mentor for like about 6 months, and after we do the report at the end of the 6 months, you get to decide if you want to stay with that mentor, if you want to be mentored by somebody else. You could be mentored by the president, the CEO, vice president, anybody who is a mentor in the bank. You could be mentored by them.
Okay, that's excellent. Just I always going back to the Bible. I sorry for those who are not believers, but the Bible has 5 scriptures about good counsel. And so I was just wondering if people, the younger people had somebody to look up to get good advice, that experienced advice, and with all the issues that we deal with in life. So I'm happy to know that yes, you indeed do have people for these different aspects of your life. So you don't just buck your toe till your toe fall off, Okay, so excellent, Candace. Thank you so much. Anybody else have questions for Candace?
Just a quick question. So in your speech, you're speaking about leadership. My question to you, are leaders born or are they made?
Pull out your book and look at chapter 9.
Her opinion.
I feel like a leader can be born and made. You have some people that are natural leaders, and I feel like there are some people that you can train them on how to be a leader. You could train them in terms of ethics, their communication, and eventually they would become so used to it that they'd be good at being a leader. So I feel a leader could be born. I can't remember what the answer is in chapter 9, Miss Bullard.
I have a question.
Okay.
My question is, I wanted to know if, I know you spoke about knowledge and how beneficial it is. Do you think that you can give us an example of how knowledge or gaining knowledge has benefited you or benefited your life? How has it changed your life?
Yes, going back to mentorship. I have a business and I have a mentor that mentors me in that area, and that particular mentor is currently at the place in which I am trying to go. So when I talk to her about certain things or try to get different information, she would give me an outlook, or she would explain certain things to me in ways I haven't really thought about. So that having her mentor me and give me the information, that's knowledge that I am gaining that is now benefiting me to help me to get to the place where I want to be, which she's already at.
Okay, awesome.
Any more questions?
Okay, great. Thank you so much,
I feel
Candace. Sorry, I
Okay.
can't hear you. I can't hear you, Candace.
No, I was saying everyone was so silent. I feel like they was thinking about questions to ask me.
Okay, let's give them a minute
I
then.
was trying
You
to
want me in
think
a
of
minute?
another one since Krista teased my question. But
No
anyhow,
fighting, no fighting.
I can't think of one, Candace, but I would like to say your essay is really good, really thought-provoking.
Thank you. Thank you, Lanique.
Okay, good. So Lanique, I was calling Clinton. I think, is Clinton there?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, I don't know if she's there.
Oh, okay. So then you go ahead then, Lanique. Clinton ain't responding right now. So Krista, you critique Lanique for me, please.
Okay. 1 minute. Let me get my camera on. Y'all can see me?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Wait, let's just make sure Krista is there.
I'm here.
Okay, okay, great.
Okay. Okay, my question was, high energy, good looking people with good hygiene and a positive attitude make more money, and why? Greg Anderson once said, wellness is the complete integration of body, mind, and spirit. The realization that everything we do, think, feel, and believe influences our state of well-being. When you've set out on the path of becoming a future leader, there's more to it than just focusing on your duties or the new team that is now your responsibility. You should now prepare to adjust your lifestyle to finding ways to develop yourself mentally and physically for your leadership position. Mr. Gregory Bethel, president of Fidelity Bank, Bahamas Limited, recently gave a speech at a graduation ceremony where he addressed a few points on how to become future leaders of our country. One of the points that stood out to me was when he said high energy, good looking people with good hygiene have a positive attitude and a positive attitude make more money. This claim can be supported by the book called Beauty Pays, which is written by economist David Hammermesh, which describes how attractive people are more likely to be employed, are paid higher wages, are more likely to be approved for a loan, and the list goes on and on. Here are 2 requirements that will help you to become a future leader as it relates to having a positive attitude and having good hygiene. First, try your best to display positive energy. For some of us, positive energy comes from having a minute to recall what you are grateful for. For others, it may mean thinking about experiences that bring you joy. I like to find a quiet time daily to take about 15 minutes to write in my journal and meditate. Specifically, I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. This daily practice aligns with the scripture, 1 Thessalonians 5:18, that says, Be thankful in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you who belong to Christ Jesus. Focusing on looking for things to be grateful for simultaneously causes you to forget about the negativity that happens around us. This shift in your mindset leads to you being more positive and results in a high energetic attitude. Give it a try for yourself for the next week or so and let me know if there was a change in your overall mood. Next, practice good hygiene and grooming. Taking showers or baths regularly, fixing your hair, and brushing your teeth are all non-negotiables. As a leader, it would be best for you to take this a step further. Try enhancing your appearance, especially for work, ensuring that your clothes are clean, ironed, and fit you properly. It's good for men to keep their hair groomed, and ladies, it's good to put on your makeup for the office. Remember that a little goes a long way, and the more you practice doing your makeup every day, the better you are at it. Starting with these 2 small lifestyle changes can act as a catalyst for major changes in your life. Your superiors at work will take notice, and more opportunities will be offered to you. Your team will notice and should begin to positively respond. Many studies have shown that people who display these attributes make more money because others are attracted and drawn to these type of people. Employers are compelled to pay these types of people more because they see the effort needed to achieve this behavior or appearance. These types of leaders allow for companies to thrive and draw more customers in, which is top priority for most owners. Here's my challenge to you. Think about small ways you can positively change your attitude and your appearance for work. Try implementing a new one each week until you build up consistency in doing them all. That's it. Questions?
Okay, excellent, excellent, Lunique. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Crystal.
Okay, so I enjoyed your speech. It was relatable. You like that critique just now. So it was relatable. It also was relevant to the topic that you have as well. I like that you cited a book, or you were able to do some research. It showed me that you found some research, but you found a book. You said it was called Beauty Pays.
Yes.
Okay, Beauty Pays. So that was good that you found a source that backed the claim. So that was awesome. Now, there was something you had said that was a bit controversial to me.
Okay.
It was referencing good-looking hygiene persons getting more money, or their jobs paying them more, I guess, to assist them in keeping up, their appearance. Now, okay, so just wanted to know, where did you find that information? That's what I want to know. Or is that just an opinion?
Well, it is an opinion, but in that book, Beauty Pays, he does talk about it. But for personal experience, I feel like jobs do pay you more. Well, I wouldn't say pay you more. They just, I think they do look at when you take a certain interest in like dressing up and stuff like that. When it's time for bonus time, I've seen where persons who look good get a bigger cut of the pie. So
not necessarily because of their efforts.
Not necessarily.
Okay,
it doesn't have to do entirely with their efforts, I would say, but or maybe it could have been that the manager liked how that girl looked and not someone else. I don't know, but
okay, I understand. But my point I wanted to make to you was, in your future speeches, something like that, if it's an opinion, let them know it's an opinion, or if it's actually a fact, state where it comes from, instead of, because it's more or less like a sweeping generalization more than exact fact, if that makes sense to you.
Okay, I understand.
So just be a little bit more careful to make sure cite wherever your sources are. Or if it's your opinion, just state that it's your opinion. Just again, yeah, eye contact, I didn't see it much, but again, that was a very relatable, and I enjoyed your speech a lot. Thank you.
Now, Krista, how you ain't see my eye contact and I reading off of the screen?
You looking to the side.
I reading off of the screen.
No fighting, no fighting.
Krista's carrying me hard, friends. I don't know, but I appreciate
No,
your
thank you.
joking.
Okay.
Don't mind me.
Thank you.
Okay, okay, let me just chime in. Krista, there is
My
quite
hand
a
was
lot
up.
of research. There's
My,
quite a lot. Sorry?
No
my
fight.
hand was up. I
Okay,
didn't see your hand up. I didn't see your hand up, Miss. Yes,
Man, Robert, don't do it.
my hand was up, Miss
Yeah,
Bullet.
Miss Willard
Honestly,
normally don't put our hand up, Robert, so just in one place. Yeah, just give me a moment.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Crystal?
No
Yeah,
problem,
there
she's the chair.
is the independent UK edition. They don't quote exactly who did the studies, but they do say, you know, universities and findings show people who are more extroverted and very attractive earn more money. And they say there's a new study out. So I don't know, you know, there are some studies out, and I agree with you. Yeah, she should quote it, but there are quite a number of studies out that they tested it and found that it was true.
Yeah,
Okay.
in my research, I found where a number of universities doing like you know when you do work study, and they have groups going out. So like they have groups of grown people and high energy people going in a place versus people who are not, and then they comparing how they were paid, how they were treated, all that stuff like that. Different universities doing studies like that. So
Okay. Yeah. Very good.
But
So yeah, so most findings are saying that it's true.
it's
Okay.
true, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Robert, go ahead.
Oh, yes, ma'am. So I just had maybe one question.
Mhm.
I know that you stated that um you have to wear fitted, your clothes have to fit you properly. What do you mean by fit properly?
Well, some people believe that they are small when they are in fact a medium, and sometimes you know that's not good for the workplace because you want to look professional at all times, and then vice versa. You have some people who prefer their clothes to be really baggy and dropping off them, which is not seen as professional. So you just want to ensure that your clothes fit properly, comfortably, properly, you know. That was that was
Oh,
my stance
okay,
behind that.
okay, and then Krista already covered the part
Crystal,
about
put your hand down.
Krista already covered the part about good looking persons being picked or qualified for positions over work ethics. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't really have to cover that. So okay,
Okay.
that's it for me.
Thanks for your question, Robert.
All right, yeah, excellent speech.
Thank you.
Okay. And Lanique, Les Brown also said that 98% of your thoughts are negative. And I do find, you know, that experience. Sometimes I will sit here, you know, when I have extra time and then worry about some foolishness and I'll be like, stop it, you know better. So I'm gonna, like you said, take the little notebook out and write down things that are grateful for. I think that's, you know, excellent advice
Yeah,
to
that
help
it,
get rid of these negative thoughts, because they just come on you for, like, you
yeah.
always think the worst rather than the best. And I think that I consider myself a very optimistic person. So that was very good advice, and I hope that all of you would pay attention to that. And like
Another
said,
thing was, because you're so focused on knowing you have to do that every day, like every day, either write down what you're grateful for or think about the things you're grateful for, you always looking for the positive in every day. Because
Right.
you have to do it, you know what I mean? So
Right.
it
Yeah,
has
'cause
helped me.
yeah, these days are very tough. Most of these days are very tough. Sydney, go ahead.
My question was, I mean, I guess I could still ask, but in cases where, let's say, for example, like you say, you know, wearing your makeup, wearing your fitted clothes, you know, doing your thing, you know,
Mhm.
and let's say, for example, the persons who's supposed to, you know, recognize it, you know, pay you more, feel like it's inappropriate. Like, how would you deal with a situation like that?
You mean they feel as if you're
Like you're doing
make,
too much.
or feel like you're doing too much?
Yeah.
Well, I would say not everybody's gonna like you. That's for sure. Not everybody's gonna see your efforts as real efforts. So don't necessarily do it for them. Do it for you. For me, when I get up in the morning and get ready for work and stuff, I put on my makeup and my high heels and stuff for me, so that I could feel more confident around the workplace, so I could feel in a better mood. The things that I do it to put myself in a better mood so that I could tackle the day ahead of me. So even though the result of it may be, someone may like it and someone may pay me more, someone may offer me an opportunity, I'm not really entirely doing it for them. You know what I mean? Even though they're gonna get the results from it, I'm actually doing it for me. So I guess if
Because
you look at it
it
that way,
motivates you.
right?
You're motivated by that. Yeah.
Right. So if you look at it that way, it wouldn't matter if one or two persons don't like it, or, you know, once you're in policy, within policy, your makeup is within policy, or your you know, your uniform is in policy, your hair, everything is in policy. Them telling you you're doing extra shouldn't bother you.
Yeah. And Sydney, we don't work in perfect. They're gonna be a split. People are like you, and you don't have to do nothing wrong, and people will dislike you. Okay, so let the haters hate, and you celebrate the people that love you. But
Yeah.
we tend as human beings to focus on ways. And that's another negative thought that we gotta control. Focus on the people that celebrate you. Girl, your makeup look you extra, but that look good. Or you always look good, you always look. Don't worry, but the haters will hate always. Okay. Another thing too, when you're home, because Miss Bullet, has to make this extra effort. Sometimes I just don't feel like wearing makeup and don't feel like all these things, right? So when you're home, please don't walk around all day with them head caps. Please don't wear a big t-shirt with a dead person on it.
Oh, I can't promise you that.
And please don't only dress up for the workplace, especially if you have a husband or a wife, dress up for them. Look good always for them first, and then go out into the workplace, and then let them be second, but let always at home be your first priority. So them head cap and them dead people shirt, throw them away. Please don't sleep in them, please. Please. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and my niece just got a new job. She started 2 weeks ago, and in her old job, everybody wore flats. In this new job, she have to wear high heels. And she was telling me this yesterday, Auntie, I have to buy a couple of more heels, because over the years, and I've been to my last job for 15 years, and I have every color flats. Now I only have one pair of heels that I wear to church. And she said, I've been wearing them every day. And I was like, well, put on one of your flats. She said, I can't. I just can't. She said, everybody look good, and they tip in, and they tipping around in their high heels all day long. I say, they don't even put on the flats under that. She say, no. I said, what you could do? She said, I have to go out and buy heels. I was like, okay. And she just feels compelled. So, ladies, don't feel pressured, but, always look your best. I guess they say when you're in Rome, do what the Romans do, eh?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
When you're in Rome. Okay, good. But look good at home, too. Go ahead, Monique.
Okay, so my question is, what advice as a supervisor would you give to an employee who, like, their attitude is just basically negative? Like, every day they come to work, they just have a negative vibe about them, and you could tell in their parents, and you could tell that they are unhappy at work. What advice would you give?
Are they asking for advice, or is this unsolicited advice?
I mean, this is you as a supervisor just noticing that a staff member of yours, you notice that they look run down when they come to work. Their attitude always negative, like, I just don't want to be here. I mean, what advice would you give as far as getting their mental back on track?
Well, I would try to encourage them, but not like, I don't want to be pushy, because if it is that they are unhappy, then it could be something totally, not related to work. You don't know. I don't know how close you are with the staff, but the first thing I would do is try to encourage them, try to get a conversation, a feel of what's going on. Maybe, hey, so and so, you ever try, like, you like to watch makeup on TikTok or something, just to strike up a conversation and to see, if you could spark it from there, or ask them maybe to go to lunch, and if it's in a more relaxed environment or space. And I would just try to, if I can't get to the root of the problem, try to give little suggestions on how they could maybe enhance their appearance, that'll probably enhance their mood or something like that. But you do have some people who are just very unhappy and they decide to be the complainers. I have one of those on my team, and I've tried everything. And so now I'm just to the point where I try to motivate the other persons in the team so that her complaining or negative attitude doesn't trickle on to them. So it's almost like I try to overpower her and negative energy, so that my other team members are not affected by that. So I try my best, but it is exhausting having someone like that on your team, honestly. But you can't change people, so don't try to kill it yourself to try, make things better for them. Like I say, it could be something totally not work related, and it's just trickling on when they come to work. So you never know. I don't know if I give good advice, Ms. Bullitt, so go ahead.
It's your advice.
That was good.
Yeah, it's your advice, and I normally ask, if I have an issue or problem, I normally ask 5 people, just to have a cross section. And so don't devalue what you said, that's the way you feel. I may feel differently, so everybody adds value, then you digest all the advice you had, and then you make your decision what's best for you, because it's all of us are different. Okay. Yeah, but just, it's very easy to take on that person's attitude. So remember your position, remind yourself, I am the supervisor, this person needs help, in my opinion, and therefore I would just let them know that, you let it rest, but let them know that, hey, whenever you want to speak or anything I can help, I'm available, but the ball is now in your court. Because you don't have to say, I exhausted myself trying to please you or change the situation, but try to use diplomatic words and try to be compassionate. If it was you wouldn't want to be pressured that you was ready to talk. So
That's
just say that, the ball is in your court now, there. Whenever you're ready, I'm here. That's what I'm here for. Yeah.
Right. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
good. Very good. All right, guys. Any other questions for Lanique?
Krista?
If Krista put her hand up, I can put it down. I will let you sneak out first before she asks you a question. I just joking. But excellent, guys. So far, I'm very pleased. Krista, you want to go ahead and we'll let Vanique critique you?
Sure. Is my video working?
Yes, it is.
I'm asking because I can't see me. Okay, hold on. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. At the 39th commencement speech of the College of the Bahamas, H. Gregory Bethel, president of Fidelity Bank, addressed the 2013 graduates. It was here that the term debt trap was introduced. Bethel deduced that debt is a financial trap, that it is plaguing our community. According to him, it reduces our options in life, and it can ultimately lead to delayed retirement. He continued, in this stage of life, you should be able to wake up each morning without the yoke of the master, a time where you should be able to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, and with whom you want to do it with, for how long you want to do it, how you want to do it, all because you believe to do it. In this part of the speech, he painted such a vivid picture, perfect image of what retirement should be. However, unfortunately for many of our senior citizens within our community, this is not the norm, nor the reality. In my observation, there are some who are struggling daily and desperately trying to manage their debt that has gotten out of control due to poor financial choices they may have made earlier on in their banking career. Then again, there may be those who may have just fell victim to this persuasion, at the time too blindly by joy, unaware of the damaging consequences taking on too much debt would eventually reap on their lives in the long term. Whatever the reason may be, this financial bondage known as the debt trap is a generational cycle that must be broken and avoided at all costs if we are to ever see wealth built and debt eliminated in our communities. So now this brings me to the question at hand. How do we avoid the debt trap? And I will tell you how. Through embracing the concept of financial literacy in our homes and in our schools. Parents are usually the first role model a child knows. Much of what is learned is based on the behaviors and attitudes that they see and observe within the home. As this is so, parents have a huge responsibility to be financial role models for their children and should try their best to prepare themselves to be in a position to teach their children about the value of money as well. According to a Scotiabank pamphlet I found, 0 to 12-year-old children are considered to be in the dependent life stage. During this time, the child is basically acquiring and accumulating knowledge. No bills to pay, no children to care for, no jobs to be pressured by. This is indeed the time to plant seeds of financial wisdom in them. For example, in a situation where a teenager is susceptible to peer pressure and she is saying she wants this too because Mary Lou wearing this or Jessica may be buying that. This is indeed the time for parents to be able to step in at this point and teach a valuable lesson. You may ask, what lesson can be taught here? Perhaps the difference between needs and wants, perhaps prioritizing spending, or how to steadily save. In another example, a 6th grader says, okay, he wants to get a pair of skates. And mom or dad say, okay, well, you want these skates? You have to find a way to pay for it. Now, this 6th grader realizes he has a lot of old toys and decides to sell them at a yard sale. This would be him now generating income. These examples are just a few, but ways in which a parent interacting or engaging with their children with money talk can allow these parents to do these two things at once. Number one, it teaches their children at an early age how to make the right decision about their personal finances. Number two, it cultivates the minds of the younger generation to start thinking of ways to generate their own income and be self-sufficient so that they can have financial stability when they become older, instead of falling victim to the debt trap cycle. In addition to this, I believe that teaching financial literacy in schools and college could bring a start to ending this debt trap cycle. Financial literacy generally speaks to the ability to understand and use key financial skills in order to develop positive financial habits. Examples of these skills could be, but not limited to, budgeting, saving, investing, insurance, emergency fund, and yes, retirement planning. Through my further research, I also found that there are many other countries around the world who have realized this fact, and as such has added strong emphasis on school-age children now being introduced to money managing concepts in early stages of life. Of those noted, the most impressive programs were found in the North European countries, namely Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, all of which were tied ranking #1 in a worldwide financial literacy report completed Milken
Krista, your mic is
Institute.
freezing.
In this report, it is in these countries have it's freezing.
Yeah, you're freezing a little bit. Okay, but go ahead, it's back in clear. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So in this report, it is found that 71% of schools in these countries have implemented various bank-initiated or sponsored programs that teach personal financial concepts and life skills. In the end, gearing toward the aim of early home ownership and early pension planning. Sadly, throughout the curriculum of our schools today, the latter is not the case. Students are taught to be good employees and follow the rules, and no importance have been placed on being educated on them managing their personal finances. This, in the long run, has proven to be a disservice to our young generation. It could be in part because of this, our children grow to learn about managing money affairs through trial and error, much like their parents and their parents' parents before them. I believe that training our children from an early age how to interact with money could possibly play a part in causing them to have a greater value for their future income, and make fewer financial mistakes that could have negative impact on them in the long run. As I conclude, in our country, the debt trap epidemic is a systematic problem, one that we are facing as Bahamians. As a cash teller, for many years, I cannot begin to say how often I see senior citizens coming in the bank on NIB payday, just to give the bank more than half of their income. Many of them cry. Many of them complain. How long have I had this bill? How long should this be finished by now? In most cases, what I have personally witnessed, some of these balances being so high that they could barely afford the minimum payment. In most cases than not, they pass away, leaving the burden of expense on their loved ones to carry. This is just one example of the consequences of the debt trap. Ultimately, if we continue onto this path of financial carelessness, our children and their children's children at retirement age could find themselves unprepared for the realities of retirement, depending on merger government pensions, and ultimately depending on their own children to aid them in carrying the debts and other living expenses, all the while keeping alive this daunting and vicious cycle. So as I take my seat, I leave with you all these last few words. Living paycheck to paycheck is avoidable. Making poor financial decisions are avoidable, and the debt trap is avoidable. And maybe these two simple words, financial literacy, could very well be the key to ending it all. Thank you.
Okay, excellent, Krista. Thank you very much. Beneath, go.
Hi, Krista. I thought that your speech was very good. I love the personality, loved it. I also felt like the speech had a lot of beneficial information in it, something that all of us can take away. Good job, great job.
Okay, thank you, Beneath. Krista, two questions I have. You mentioned the silver economy, the elderly, the NIB checks. You were saying financial literacy is the solution? Where do you get this financial literacy? Are there meetings held? Are there pamphlets? Are we having these discussions with the silver economy? And are we planning for ourselves? So this isn't us in 20 years.
Yes, most definitely. Speaking to the seniors, as you have an opportunity to, as a teller, I do my best to do a little bit of the financial planning on the front counter with whatever time I have available. But yeah, that is so important to teach them, things that they can be doing. What I found the last time I've spoken to someone in that community, like a silver economy, you call it, right? She was saying that she's able-bodied, so she's able to work and all of that, but she is retired, and of course now she's on a fixed income. And her thing was no one was hiring, of course, because of the age. And so I was speaking to her and I encouraged her, to look at things that she can do. She have free time. There were persons during the pandemic, and there were persons that even now she's still doing it today, where she do the babysitting and she also do the nursery as well. And so that's just using the talent and the time that she had, it was able to turn around some income for her. So I would just encourage everybody, whenever you get an opportunity to share some light on, some advice, even though we are young, we have an understanding now of what's happening, in our community, and we should do our best. And I try my best as well to try and teach about financial literacy as much as possible to those persons.
But do you do feel that it's available out there and it is accessible?
Right now, I've seen it on pamphlets, but I haven't seen it being on mass production. I haven't seen it being placed at the forefront. No, I have not. I'm speaking about the bank scale, and also when it comes to just the government in general, when it comes to NIB or places of financial, institutions.
Right.
I've never seen that. No.
Could you suggest that? Some meetings need to be held, like a monthly seminar or something like that, and perhaps an incentive to make people come, because I just don't feel that it's accessible.
I do agree. Yes, ma'am, I can.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and all of you work in financial institutions, and they ask for suggestions. Please suggest that it's gravely needed, gravely. Okay, not only for the silver economy, for all. Okay, Lanique, go ahead with your question before somebody else steal it. And then I have one more. I'll come back to that. Go ahead, Lanique.
No, I was gonna piggyback off of what you were saying. You actually touched on that. I was gonna ask Krista, do you have okay, I know as a teller, when I was a teller, they kind of almost discourage us from giving financial advice, especially when it came to loans, people getting these bunch of loans. I wanted to know if you had that experience where your job kind of like discouraged you from giving people sound advice, especially for the credit facilities.
No, I mean, you're asking Krista, go ahead, Krista.
Okay, that's true. When I first came in the bank, this was in 2014, that was something that I struggled with because I was on the senior citizens line and I was expected to get referrals. So right. For me, it was, it didn't add up to me. It was like, okay, how can I now ask these persons to, to join these different credit
to get these loans,
knowing what their situation was. And so, yes, I've had that come to me, and what I did was I found another way around it. So instead of asking these persons, because I know that if you know that they can't afford, or if you know that they're not within their ratio, or even so, it's not moral, it's not morally right. So for me, what I did was, instead of doing that, I spoke to them and I inquired if they had family, if they had children who have a home, and I was able to, get mortgages off of those referrals. So I was able to say, okay, give me grandchildren, maybe they would like to open an account, so because we got referrals off of other things other than loans, that's how I was able to capitalize off of that. But when it comes to offering persons things, especially in the silver community, offering them things that I know even if it is, like you said, it is something that the bank's asking for, I didn't do it. I found a way around it, honestly.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that's excellent, Krista. You consider that generational banking. Because normally if your grandmother say, I bank with Mr. Vo, go down, Mr. Vo, you go in, Mr. Vo can help you, like that. So generational banking. So very good that you thought about that. Lanique, you finished? You want to say something else or?
Yes,
I mean,
I thought I was Lanique.
Yeah, Lanique.
Beneath, don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. I was gonna say good answer, Krista, and very good speech.
Okay.
Now,
So-
Vanique have another question. My question is, do you think that as financial institutions, do you think that credit officers hold the key to advising or giving that financial advice to those persons that come in need money? Do you think that we can put some blame on our system for the debt trap?
Yes, I believe so, because of the pressures of the targets that is placed on creditors. And like the only thing I can say is like what's been introduced in our bank was sales principles and sales practices. So they now frown upon persons who offer these solutions to these persons based on just because they need to reach this particular target. If it's not a need, you don't do it. You understand? So for those credit facilities that actually do not have a way to track that, I would say yes, but at Scotiabank, we have a way to track that. But for those facilities that don't track it or don't consider, the age limits or don't consider the moral value of that, I would have to say yes, they may definitely could say that they have been a part of that, mainly because as creditors, we are in a position to offer advice. And at this particular time, these persons are coming to us open. So whatever it is, basically we offer to them, they're going to do. Only on the event, if you see they call somebody and they say, okay, hey, don't do that right now. But when it comes to them sitting in your chair, you are responsible for looking at their history, looking at, to see what stage they're in, so it's like these things you have to look at. You can't just drop something on somebody just because you have to hit this or hit that. At the end of the day, like I did when I was a teller, you find ways around it. You understand? So that's what I feel. So, but I do agree with you most definitely that the banking system has a great part to play in the debt, because at the end of the day, it's them who actually approving the loans, it's them who giving it away. So I definitely would say that, and more regulatory or more restrictions should be placed on any institute that's found that's not.
Okay, excellent, great. Thank you. Any more questions for Krista? No? Okay. Krista, my last and final question. You spoke about education and nothing being taught in school. And of course, the big blame with these disrespectful children now who ain't learning nothing is the parents, right? So let me put it on the parents again. Are we showing up to PTA meetings and requesting this, making suggestions, saying that nothing related to financial literacy is being taught, and getting the PTA members to stand behind us and support us for a change, speaking to the Ministry of Education and trying to get it implemented in the government schools? Are we doing any of that?
Sadly, no. I don't think that the persons realize sometimes until it's too late. And that's why when I got this topic, talking about how to avoid debt, the debt trap, because it starts in earlier stages. So right. You have to catch it.
Little piggy bank.
And they don't see that, exactly the same little piggy bank that you're giving your children hold on to. It starts there. You understand? It starts with them knowing the value of money. And again, parents, they now so far gone, because in this particular category, they call it between, I think, 26 up to 60, the working years, or the that's the years when they accumulating whatever savings of the work, whatever wealth they will have. That's the years they build it, And so for our community, that particular age category, they're dealing with the debt that they have already accumulated. They even thinking about, how can we nip this in the bud? How can we, like for instance, like I was looking into it, like they had educational programs started, even so as small as grade 6. It was like numeracy. They started off learning about banks. They started learning about the different bank system, and then they go on into, because I know my child now, he's in K5, and they're doing money, like no one identifying, the pennies and the dimes, all that stuff. But in this particular country that was doing, I think it was maybe Sweden, they had it where grade 6 was the bank, and they were talking about that. And then they moved on into all the way up to grade 12. Grade 12 is when they learned more about the stocks and when they learned more about the bonds options. So by the time as college came around, it was found in the studies that those children didn't even need a student loan because their parents have taught them where to put the money. You understand? And they learned where to put the money and learn about credit unions at an early age. Like right now, I'm teaching my 5-year-old about the credit union, teaching them about, but compound interest, but I put it in a little more simplified manner. But at the end of the day, that little seed, can go a long way. And true, like I said, that's an awesome suggestion. Whenever I go to another town hall, I'll be sure to speak up on that, because that is something that I feel definitely can be implemented as a subject of learning for our children.
Right. Okay, excellent. And the PTAs and your church, wherever you go, let you be the financial literacy promoted woman who always talking about it. Speak to your company and they could start to, we copy a lot of things in the Bahamas. So we refer them, look at the Netherlands, look at Denmark, whatever country it was. And if you don't want to implement it yourself, suggest it to them. Let's go to schools. Let's put this financial literacy out there. Let's actually try to, give to the community after all the years of borrowing and, how much money these banks became, trillionaire banks off the backs of Bahamians. So this could be our give back, put it in the schools, put it in the churches, and have a monthly or every quarter at least one seminar about a different topic, and so promote that, please, because it's much needed. Okay, so excellent, very good. Krista, thank you. Anybody else have questions for Krista? No? Okay.
Thank you for your questions.
Okay. Just before we move on, can I have a volunteer to read, please?
I can read.
Okay. 1 second. Okay. Read this first paragraph for me, please, Bonnie. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
That's with the commencement speech.
Yes.
Okay, commencement speech. Embracing education, exceeding expectations, and executing excellence. Due Tuesday, October 11, 2022 by email to tbullard1800@gmail.com. Presentation to the class Wednesday, October 12, 2022. 300 to 500 word essay discussing what requirements to become a future leader and answering one of the questions below.
Okay, thank you, Vanique. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that unclear to anyone?
No.
No? Did we all receive that in preparation of this class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So.
Okay, I'm just double checking. Thank you so much. Vanique, go ahead and present, please.
Okay. Turn on the camera. Okay. Good night, everyone. Okay.
Good night.
So Malcolm X once said, "The future belongs to those who prepare for it today." As a potential future leader, this quote resonates with me deeply. This quote speaks to the preparation that each of us as individuals take to create the future that we desire. As we all know, there are many factors that play a role in becoming a future leader. A leader is one who possesses the ability to communicate, one that has interpersonal skills, problem-solving skills, resilience, values, ethics, and the ability to create and execute a vision. But a future leader is not made without having the knowledge to do so. Oxford's dictionary defines knowledge as facts, information, and skills acquired through experience and education. Each of us from birth to this present day can say how knowledge has benefited our lives. But I would like to tell you a little bit of how important knowledge has been in my life. I never really understood the true value of knowledge until I graduated high school, and it was time for me to put the puzzle pieces of my life together. It was at this point in my life that I started to live by the saying, "Learn as much as you can while you can." I began to take advantage of every opportunity that was presented to me. I started going to school to embark on a journey in the financial services industry, and within a year of expanding my knowledge in that field, I was granted an opportunity to work in the industry. Now, not only was I gaining knowledge through education, but I was also gaining knowledge through work experience. I continued to pour into myself by reading, researching, taking courses, and applying those things I learned into my everyday life. Today, I can say that because of the preparation I made a few years ago, I am able to make better decisions for my life, my children, my finances, and my career. The knowledge I have has allowed me to align myself with like-minded persons who have already accomplished some of the goals I desire to accomplish, and those who are like me on their way to accomplishing their goals. It has also taught me how to be a problem solver, not only in my work field, but also in my personal life. The knowledge I have has allowed me to impact the lives of those around me. The most important benefit about the knowledge that I have is the ability to make sure my kids see the true value of knowledge from an early age. And to be able to pour into their lives gives me the greatest joy. Knowledge is the most valuable skill we can possess in our lifetime. The knowledge that I gain can never be taken away from me, no matter where life may lead me. And if one day I do decide to become a leader, I will rise to the occasion as the foundation has already been prepared for me. The end.
Okay. Excellent, Vanique. I think you did a good job delivering that speech. My takeaway from it was that you said what is important is to be with like-minded persons. And I'd like to ask you, why do you think it's important to be with like-minded persons?
I believe that it's important to be around like-minded persons because it's simple. It's like our parents would always tell us, you are the company that you keep. So if I surround myself around goal-oriented persons or persons that's going somewhere in life, I have no other feel or desire but to want to be that So I become what I am around. I become what I see.
And I agree. I agree with you. And as a teenager, I never believed in peer pressure. I always felt that I was very strong-minded and that nobody could convince me to do anything that I didn't want to do. But as I became an adult, I saw it, like I said, two little babies where there are some babies saying you never would have made it, and there are some babies backing it up, right? So it just depends on your environment and what you subject yourself to. So what is also very important and that I'm very proud of, that you want to teach your children this. Okay. And like they say, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And so if you are knowledgeable, if you are successful, if you are pursuing goals and trying to achieve them and are being mentored, of course you will instill all of this in your children. And as we know right now, something is happening in our country, particularly with the young men. It's like you have to go, put them in the river now because there's a king out there and somebody trying to kill that king, right? All of this doesn't happen in the Bible. So it's a pandemic on our men. So I'm very happy that you seem to be knowledgeable, goal oriented, and passing it on to the next generation. So congratulations for that. Okay, and so
Yes.
that was my questions and my takeaway. I decided to critique you because when you have Robert and Clinton left, I don't know if Clinton is ready or Robert is ready, but I'll let each of them critique each other if they are presenting. Okay, so
Okay.
anybody has questions for Vanique? No, you're still there, you're asleep? Sydney, Candace, Krista?
We here.
Sydney was first. Sydney was first, so Sydney doesn't sleep. Sydney, you there? You had enough of these speeches, eh, Sydney?
Mama,
You there? Okay, Sydney's still there. So no questions? No? Okay. Well, Vanique, don't feel too bad because somebody else already did knowledge. Let me see, who was it? And they went earlier. Candace.
Candace.
Did knowledge. So they probably asked all their questions there, but nevertheless, excellent job. Okay?
Thank you.
Good
You're
job,
welcome.
Vanique.
Okay, so Clinton, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay. All right. Good night, all. I'm going to touch on 3 topics, one being tips to keep yourself out of debt, the requirements to becoming a future leader, and will China and India rule the world soon? Tips to keep yourself out of debt. 1, stop borrowing money. No more swiping of cards, no more loans equals no more debt. 2, track your spending. Figure out where your money is going and cut back. Number 3, set a budget. A vital part of budgeting is putting it in writing. Number 4, re-examine your budget. 2 ways to pay off debt faster are to earn more or spend less. If it's feasible to pick up a part-time job or side hustle, you may want to consider adjusting your budget. Number 5, pay more than the minimum payment. Paying more than the minimum payment helps reduce the principal balance on your credit cards faster. Number 6, refinance debt. Refinancing debt to a lower interest rate can save you hundreds in interest and help you repay your debt faster. Number 7, settle for less than you owe. You can call creditors and negotiate a settlement of your debts for less than you owe. The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He is the one that gets the people to do the greatest things. Ronald Reagan. The requirements for becoming a future leader. Leadership is about knowing who you are and having the confidence to express it. It isn't just one skill, but a combination of several skills working together. A few skills a good leader should have are to be an active listener, have good communication skills, be a critical thinker, be dependable, have empathy, be patient, exude positivity, be a problem solver, and be able to team build. Why are leadership skills important? Being a great leader is essential to every organization and community. Outstanding leaders support a positive environment, motivate others, and help remove obstacles for their team. To become a future leader, one requires an additional set of skills, more so than the leaders of yesteryear. What skills are these, might you ask? They are hard and soft skills. These type of skills are essential for every individual. The key difference between both are how they are obtained and put into use. Soft skills are more often seen as individuality than a behavior. You may have spent all your life developing these skills. They may come into play when you manage your time, communicate with people, or confront a situation. Whereas hard skills are more about technical knowledge that you have gained through education. Example of soft skills are adaptability, creativity, flexibility, time management, decision-making skills, and communication. Example of hard skills are knowledge in Adobe software suite, computer programming, statistical analysis, IT skills, and database management. To be successful in life, one needs to have these skills. They both complement each other and help you to achieve your goals. These type of skills will definitely be the driving force in the future. Individuals need to begin investing their time to learn and develop these skills in preparation to become a future leader. Will China and India rule the world soon? China and India are business rivals at heart. According to Harvard Business Review, China's economic rise threatens India as they trail their neighbor on almost every conventional socio-economic indicator. China is strong in manufacturing and infrastructure, and India in services and information technology. India is becoming a global competitive, while China's technology sector threatens to match India's in a decade. They both have taken different routes to enter the world economy, which has resulted in them gaining complementary strengths. Some business leaders have learned that to make use of both countries' resources and capabilities. Companies can use China to make almost anything cheaply. They can rely on India to design and develop products cost effectively. Although China and India companies compete intensely with each other, it is not necessarily at the expense of each other. For instance, as the Chinese government tries to develop a software industry, India's companies have been amongst the first to recruit Chinese engineers. So although China may gain from having a software industry, the benefits may not come at the expense of India's software industry. The coming together, however, puts many companies at a disadvantage, especially the ones in the West. According to an article on CNBC, the Indian and Chinese stock market capitalization are expected to grow fourfold by 2050. As neighbors, China and India continue to dominate the global market. Their economic transformation over the last 3 decades has seen more than 1 billion people lifted out of poverty. Capital markets have also evolved, and the region has switched from being mostly a destination for foreign investors to one where local investors dominate its markets. In conclusion, both countries will definitely be a force to reckon with as they are expected to become the world's largest and third largest economies in the next decade. Thank you, guys.
Okay, excellent. Clinton, Robert, you can go ahead with your critique and your feedback.
Oh, good day. Good night, everyone. Everything, well, in all honesty, I'll be honest, I wasn't paying attention just now to, I wasn't paying attention just now, in all honesty. Right now, I ain't really focused. I actually upset at the moment. I do apologize. I actually ain't focused.
Understood.
Okay, well, Clinton, very good presentation. I'm glad that you did the research and you found out if indeed China and India will rule the world. And so,
Yeah.
since it seems like there is a possibility, what should we do as Bahamians? I mean, how do we keep up? I mean, I know we can't compete, but what the countries doing to manage it then? Any idea
Well,
at all?
well, a lot of countries are trying to invest into those economies
Okay.
on the global
So,
market.
okay. Okay.
And since we have so many Chinese here in the Bahamas, or a lot of Chinese companies vying for business opportunities, it would be good for us to understudy them and the way they, I guess, the way they conduct business. It would be good for us to understudy them in some instances. I know that's difficult because, Chinese tend
Are
to
very
not
secretive.
want to have outside. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. But some advice. So what little information is out there? You have a Chinese friend you went to school with, try and see what you can learn, especially because we're all going to be future leaders and we're going to have that, have at least minimal knowledge about, these economies. Okay. You started off with saying no more charging, no more this, no more that. But I need things, Clinton. What must I do? I get the things if I'm charging and swiping and all these things you suggest.
Well, I should say in moderation. Because of course there are going to be some instances where you do need a loan, but choose wisely. Don't just get it just because, oh, I want to go on vacation or I just want to go on a shopping spree.
Okay, that makes sense. Miss Political, cut down all these wants, manage these wants. Okay, all right, very good. Excellent presentation, Clinton. Krista, you wanted to say something or you just turned on your mic?
Well, I have two questions. My first one, to get a feel of when you did your research, what was your feeling when you got your research about China and India? Is this something that you already knew or had an idea about, or is this like brand new?
Well, China wasn't a surprise, but I must say that India was. Because you barely ever hear anything. I mean, initial mindset always has been that India is one of the poorest countries in the world.
Hmm.
And so I was taken aback to know that they actually are climbing up the ladder in the global market. Actually,
were you able to find out the name of the software?
Sorry?
Did you get the name of the software?
The software or?
The software company in India.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Because I actually used a few, I actually went to a few news sources and all would have basically almost all of them had the same info.
Okay, and in your research, were you able to find anything speaking to like how the wealth is shared? Because from what I've known of India being, it's a highly populated place and knowing of, a lot of poverty that is displayed. I was wondering, is that something is that the government now taking on, trying to get more in partnership with the software company? Government of India,
yeah,
they're leveraging.
The government is more involved, yeah.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Oh, and one more thing. Just wanted to speak to you a bit about the budgeting. I wanted to know, because you were saying cut everything. Good debt, bad debt. Yeah. So do you have anything you wanted to weigh in on that?
On good debt, bad debt?
Yeah, good debt versus bad debt. Is there anything you can say versus, like, do you feel as if there is such a thing as good debt?
Good debt, yes, because if you have a mortgage, you're still in debt, and that's some good debt. So I wouldn't say don't borrow if it's something like you're investing in your future or trying to invest in a business, that would be considered good debt.
I agree.
Okay, so very, very good, guys. And any other questions for Clinton? No? Okay, very good. Robert, are you presenting?
Yes, ma'am. I'm presenting.
Okay. Okay, so Clinton, are you able to critique Robert and give feedback?
Okay.
Okay, all right, great.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right. So can everyone see me? All right. So my topic is on how much money you have, how you get money, and how do you use money to avoid the yoke of the master. Benjamin Franklin once said, "Beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship." Avoiding the yoke of the master is very consequential to achieve financial freedom. Financial freedom is the goal to avoid the lifestyle that you know you deserve. Ways to achieve financial freedom is knowing how much money you have, how you get money, how do you use your money to avoid the yoke of the master. Knowing how much money you have is critical for financial success. When you know the amount of funds you have, you will have the ability for planning. Planning your funds can help obtain a balanced life within your budget. Some funds can go towards day-to-day expenses, bills, savings, necessities, and wants. Once you understand your income planning, Once you understand your income, planning can contribute to financial freedom. Money is easy to spend, but it's hard to retrieve. Money is mostly rewarded from hard labor. Nothing in life comes easy, and certainly not money. However, there are several ways that you can make money. The best and easy way to make money is through something you love doing. If you earn more money by something you are passionate about, it will never feel like you are working a day in your life. You won't feel unmotivated to make money daily. Another way you can make money is through investments. Investments can be properties, business investments, or shares. Property value rises yearly, which is why this is the safest investment. Lastly, always remain relevant. Once you're skilled and qualified, you will always be relevant. Relevancy will always keep you employed because knowledge is power, and that is a huge asset in the business industry. Once you have an understanding on how you make money, you will be one step closer to financial freedom. Spending money. Spending money isn't always a bad thing. Using your money for investments is a great way to avoid the yoke of the master. Once you know how much money you have, you will be able to live a balanced life and still save for the future. Once the future becomes the present, you are able to use your savings for investments such as bettering yourself, remain relevant, business and business investments that you are passionate about, and properties that goes up in value. Once all of this is achieved, you can have more than one income and will finally be free of financial slavery. That's my presentation. Do you guys have any questions?
Well, my question would be, Robert, and great presentation as well. When you say knowing how much money I have, is that on a short-term basis or overall long-term? Like,
That would be, I would say that's more from a monthly perspective, understanding the capacity, the amount of money you have monthly to go to plan. So planning
Okay,
your money monthly in terms of expenses, saving, etc.
okay, okay, understood. And and how would you suggest persons try to stay relevant?
In terms of and fun, can you, I guess, ask that question a bit more clear if possible?
Um,
Just stay relevant in terms of making funds or in the business industry.
in the business industry?
I would suggest they stay relevant by always bettering themselves. So basically impacting their own brand, always bettering yourself. So how I look at my day-to-day usage, I try to be better than I was the following day. And that's how I go towards um my daily process of bettering myself and making a good brand for myself.
Or if I'm in a certain profession and continuing to get
To
yearly
enhance your
training
skills
in
and
that particular, yeah,
mhm.
yeah. Okay. All right, understood. I think that's the end of my question.
Okay, so
I wanted to
Chris-
ask a question,
like
please.
Krista, she was supposed to critique his speech.
Mhm.
Clinton,
Hi.
yeah, you were supposed to critique his speech and give him feedback.
Oh yeah, I said this speech was good. I mean, I could tell he's nervous. I understand he's nervous too, Robert. But yeah.
Honestly, that ain't even I'm nervous. Honestly, I
Oh
ain't
Lord,
nervous.
it's a
It ain't,
frustration. Understood.
ain't nervous.
But
Ain't nervous.
but
I really wish I was able to. Sometimes you just can't. Emotions just come out regardless. Sometimes you can't avoid emotions, and I do apologize for any emotional. If you guys can hear it in my voice can't sound a bit cracky because I actually am really highly upset. I highly do apologize. I can't control my emotion. I just feel some situations just could be solved a better way, but it is what it is. I can't. I It is
understood.
what it is. Honestly, that's just it is what it is.
Yeah, but Robert's speech was relevant to his topic, his question. And so it was smooth and to the point.
Okay, thank you, Clinton. Okay, Robert, you said is nothing wrong with spending some money if you're using it for investments. What type of investments would you suggest?
I would always suggest property. I'll always suggest investing in homes, property. Um, if especially something you're passionate in, you will always make money once you have a passion for a particular field because you would always be the best at what you do. So that's my suggestion to always on how you would invest your funds.
Okay, and you said something about one income towards the end of your speech. What did you say?
Uh, I can
Almost the
repeat.
last paragraph.
Um, the last paragraph I said, spending your money isn't always a bad thing. Using your money for investment is a great way to avoid the yoke of the master. Once you know how much money you have, you will be able to live a balanced life and still save for the future. Once the future becomes the present, you are able to use your savings for investments such as bettering yourself to remain relevant, business investment that you are passionate about, and properties that goes up in value.
Okay,
And
you
then I
didn't
say
say
once,
anything about one income.
but no, I didn't say anything about one particular
Okay,
income.
all right, all right.
I kept it in between more than one income because if you have a more than one income, you will always you would definitely defeat the yoke of the master, and you would be free of financial slavery, knowing that your income is coming from multiple areas and multiple places at once.
Okay, okay, good, very good. Anybody else have questions for Robert?
I have a question.
Okay.
Um, I know you spoke about investments. In terms of, investments, it's not always considered like liquid money. Like you could have an investment into purchasing a property, that's not liquid cash. So
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we look at having money or knowing how much money you have is being physical, like you look in your bank account, you see 4 figures, 5 figures. So how would you I guess explain investment to someone who doesn't really know about investment?
So I would explain to persons in terms of having property investment that I would prove them to let them know that property value is actually really good to have. Reason being is because as years and years go by, the property value raises. So your property is assessed based on appraisal, and as years go, your property values even now in Nassau and in the Bahamian in the Bahamas, properties right now is at a high scale than when it was maybe a few years back. You could have probably get a property for $40,000. Now, for a good area, property starting at $80,000 to $100,000. So I would always let customers know and probe them about, and I would say staff members as well, to probe them to always invest in a property land, because that's one value that always goes up for certain. That's one thing I can assure you, value go up.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions, Sydney?
All right, no question.
Well, one thing I want to say that Robert is absolutely correct in terms of like real estate and property. It is a good investment, but a lot of my colleagues in the older generation are finding that they have a lot of assets, but they don't have a cash flow. And my neighbor had a piece of property and she needed to have a surgery. And the property was valued at 100,000 plus,
Okay.
but she needed $80,000 right away. And she ended up selling that property for 70,000 because she didn't have any cash flow. So just the investment is good. Don't end up like a lot of us that have a lot of assets but no cash. So I just strike a balance in your investment. That's my advice, because I have quite a number of friends with a lot of stuff but no cash, and they practically have to give it away. Okay,
So
so go ahead.
so
Mhm.
when she bought the property value, the amount she sell the property for, was the value
But
in was the same, or
she
was the
she
value
kind of
actually?
inherited it. Yeah, she didn't pay for
Oh,
it.
okay,
She kind of
okay,
inherited it from her parents, but
okay.
yeah, that's what happened.
All right,
You know,
that's fine. Understandable.
yeah, yeah. But that's what I say. I guess a lot of people have assets, too many assets, and no cash flow, and they end up have to sell it. So just a balance to always, have when you start to make good money, always try to keep 10,000 at least in cash. 10, 20,000 in cash, because cash flow is very, very hard to get and maintain. Okay, so just always bear that in mind. People normally say keep 2 or 3 salaries for an emergency. That's all. Start the practice one. You put your 10% in church and then you save, try to save something, because that cash is very hard in emergency time. And when you're desperate, like it was her life. The doctors don't take pity on you. She practically lost what, 30, $40,000 on that property because she wanted to live. And
Yeah.
like I said, I have a couple of friends in that situation.
Wow.
In fact, somebody called me the other day, they only needed $2,000. They was something with $20,000 they was gonna sell to me for 2,000. And I say, use my friend. I could give people $100, but since you in a dire need, I rather lend that to you. I don't lend more than I'm willing to give because people don't pay you back, right? So I could give you $100, Robert, and we could still be friends. I could be mad at you for $100. I buy $100 worth of drinks. You know what I mean? So
Yes, ma'am.
I said I could buy you. So I consider it drinks if you don't pay me
Yeah.
back. But anything over $100, I'm mad, and I don't want to lose my friendship. You know.
But what I feel as if like how they know they have that amount of properties and investments, shouldn't it be where they benefiting from the property, where okay, they would have gotten a property. Then it's a vacant land. You could rent out. You could actually have buildings on it where you renting out for I would say for business proceeds in terms of a plaza or something based on the land size, or you could structure apartments or condos on it that you could have for rent. So in terms of
Yes.
how they go about utilizing their investments or their properties, they should be able to benefit tremendously. It's just really what their goal and what their plan is. I would say in terms of just buying a bunch of properties, try to focus on getting getting back and out of your investment first before you can move on to the next.
But Robert, you see, that's the importance of what you just said of financial literacy. That's it right there. That nobody knows. And by but if I call on the phone now and tell her this, why don't you just rent it or whatever? She
Mhm.
done sick. She can't do that now.
Yeah,
You see what I mean? So she just
yeah,
lose. You know,
yes,
so
ma'am.
that's the importance there of financial literacy. Okay, so very good. And I hope you work along with Crystal to get it out there because a lot of people need it.
Well,
Oh,
every
it's
day
too late.
I spoke because I was a personal banking officer. So every day when I onboard new customers and every customer I touch, I advise them not because that I am trying that I have a goal and quarter to make. I'd push a product on a customer that doesn't suit them. So I would always have that conversation with the customers to start saving. I had a conversation with a customer that was yesterday. He came into the bank and he was interested in getting a credit card. So we just had a conversation and I had to do the sandwich method because unfortunately I couldn't assist him at the time. But mainly that
Mhm.
was because his income wasn't up to par, along with he didn't have any savings to use as an asset in terms of when conducting an application. So I just asked him, how is his financials looking? He said he has no bills, he has no obligations. He just spend his money as he get it. So I probed them to let them know that savings is really crucial because to you, you may seem as if you may not need it now, but then in the long run, as years go by and you became more mature, the first thing you would say is if I was saving my funds from my first started working, I would be set from the future now. So I probed him that investments in terms of saving for property because at some point in his life he's gonna be thinking along that side. However, because he would have recently just come out of school and he making a few bucks to buy his wants and not really needs or investments or something to better himself, he isn't looking that route. So I try to
Okay.
just give that financial advice. Even the older persons, I try to give that financial advice to, just because a lot of persons really never gotten that assistance in terms of financial advice. Commonwealth Bank,
Correct.
they have I don't know what it is, but they just have this thing where they just offering customers money on a large scale, and
Don't do us
it would
like
be
that.
unsecured lending. Like, why are you guys lending so much funds unsecured? And the
Hi,
purpose
hi,
for the
hi, hi,
customer,
hi.
the purpose for the
The
customer
truth,
really
Robert, the
Why
then
truth.
doing us
Hi,
like
is
hi, hi,
that?
hi,
The
hi.
non-beneficial.
truth.
When did
It's
this turn into
non-beneficial,
this?
and I find that to be so dissatisfying
Hi,
that you
hi, hi.
guys are putting customers in so much debt and they have nothing to show for it. No
Robert,
Cut
fees,
the
there's
no
a
recording, Miss
spike.
property,
Willard. Cut the recording.
no property, nothing. Customers
Cut the
talking about they in debt
recording.
$60,000, $70,000,
Robert,
but
there's
just top
spike.
ups,
There's
top ups,
spike.
top ups, and I can't believe it. I
Hi,
know
Miss
it is
Willard.
that's
Mute
really
Robert, Mike. Thank you, Robert. Thank you for
it's
your
really
input.
it's really it's really because now when the customers now go bad debt and now they that's to say their salary grade was to go lower, and now it's over the threshold that we're supposed to be landing in terms of their salary, because it's a percentage that we could
That
actually use
service
their salary.
ratio.
The total
It's
service
probably
ratio.
customers, Robert, so the
You
customers
know
can't go to the
that's the
I
purpose of
mean,
the
but
credit bureau
Robert,
right now. In all
but we,
honesty, so our dollar can maintain a good value. Because right now our dollar could be diminished because of this. Just saying,
I
not to
mean, Robert, I ain't any joking. You making sense. We know that. I mean,
yeah.
plus, but I mean, and that's what I was asking, kind of load into it earlier when Krista, I think Krista, yeah, when Krista's talking about it, when I first started working at Commonwealth Bank, you can't give no advice on like, you can't even tell them how to like it's
Same.
almost like, yeah, like you, it's like they don't, I don't know what it is. I can't say for
And-
sure,
And
but
I
they
still
don't,
don't
they don't
understand
Feel
want
like
why.
you.
a lot of financial institutions these days
No.
are more numbers than anything else.
Yeah,
So
but I,
we
And
lack,
a lot
we
of
lack.
account
Yeah,
officers are
they're
compromising
trying to
themselves.
keep up business. It's all about relationship building, and more or less, if they can have the mortgage or they can have the big loan there, when that person needs something else, they have to refinance. They have to consolidate. So
I
they
agree.
already have that business relationship with Commonwealth Bank. You know, so when that
But-
go elsewhere, they get throw away. So they have to
See,
go
the
back to
problem-
Commonwealth.
Yeah, but I
the-
feel as if with the when you guys, well, not you guys, I can't say for certain who, but when officers, not just at Commonwealth Bank, I feel as majority of banks, they don't explain to the customers the
Because you
rates.
can't, you
The
cannot,
rates
Robert.
that's
You don't
supposed to be
understand.
explained because that's what they're signing for.
No,
Or you should at least tell
Robert,
them to read the
you
documents in
can't.
detail.
You can't. Like now we're obligated. We show them, but Bahamians
Mhm.
don't read. I remember
That's
Spillett
true.
say, put it
I
in
agree.
writing. We
That's
show them
why.
everything before they sign, and they just so eager.
Mm.
They can sign
All they
everything.
hear is money, and they could get
Boom,
it right then and there. And
boom.
they ain't
So
getting no runarounds. They just could get this money and
And
this.
the interest rate is so
exactly. And I have seen officers who went out their way to explain, because over time you build a relationship with people. Like you have some people who are like how people just buy numbers, they chronic borrowers. Like they come in every chance they get, even if they only get $600, they come in.
Yeah.
So I've seen officers try to build that rapport, like the financial literacy or try tell them, and by next month them officers are gone.
Yeah.
Like our bank don't then into that. Like how Fidelity, you could go to Fidelity and y'all could talk about your plan and how you can save and how you can. Charles, I am an accounts officer and I don't talk about that. You don't talk about that.
Wow.
I
But I
ask
mean,
if you need
you should be
loan
the
or credit
customer
card.
financial advisor, though. You should be able to advise the
I
customer.
should be.
or
But
the
I
customer.
think
should
that's
be.
why the question to Crystal was a good question. Do you think that financial institutions play a major part in why we are in debt? We are. We
I
play a
wouldn't say.
major
I
role
wouldn't
because
say.
we don't
I
have
wouldn't
nobody to
say the
advise us.
financial
No.
institutions is the problem. I would say the lack of knowledge on the customer end is the issue,
But-
because the
But you
customer
would think,
has
okay,
But
the
but
right to read those documents.
it's our job as
'Cause
financial advisor to advise
advisors,
those
right.
persons.
Good. So I don't
But-
see why it's against your policy to advise the customer.
I ain't say it's against
it's not
our
against
policy.
ours.
It's just
It's not
frowned
against
upon.
ours.
It's frowned upon. That's
It's
it.
frowned upon to tell the customers their interest
You don't
rate
need this
and how
loan.
it's
Don't come for this
accumulated.
loan.
And I
Like-
wouldn't say you don't tell them you don't need the loan. It's
No,
it's
but
just
Robert, sometimes
explaining
like
the
that's
overall
what
terms
you
and
have to be.
conditions.
No,
Because
seriously,
the
there's some of them. I just want to tell them, come from here. Don't come back here no more.
And then
Well,
taking
yeah,
them
I mean, you
Lenny,
could give them you could give them the loan, and you could further advise them on how to go about
No,
spending
it's
this
too
loan
late.
to remain
It's too
relevant.
late, Robert. They neck
They
deep. They ass deep in this loan.
No,
Like
no,
they-
Lenny.
what I'm saying is a lot of times
Crystal found a
the
solution. You say,
Bullet.
if you make,
It's
if
bullet.
you do
You-
this for the
From
next
a-
6 months,
From a
then you
leadership
should get the
perspective,
loan.
you should be able to stand up. I wouldn't say stand up to the
Robert.
company, but you should be able to be
These
a
No, now,
leader.
Robert, it's
That's
the
what this
co-
class
no,
is
no,
for.
Robert, it's the company's policies, you carrying out their duties, not their feelings, right?
That's true.
Exactly.
But
Yeah,
you
that's
must,
true.
if
That's true.
it's immoral, then you shouldn't be immoral. What you should
Yeah.
do is say, in 6 months, here is our plan. Watch how far 6 months could pass. If you continuously make this payment or let it decrease here, you would be in a better financial situation.
Position,
You know,
yeah.
find a solution, but don't say get from here, Lenny. You can't run
No,
the
yeah,
customer.
you can't say that. You can't say
You
that.
I
can't run
mean,
them.
no, I don't
Give
say
them a
that, but
solution.
like
I know you wouldn't say that,
know,
but
every year
don't
we
let
have
them
a
leave
lap.
without the solution.
We call it top up, man. I know these people by name.
That top up killing people. That top
Their
up killing
loan
people.
file look like hospital file. Like it tick because they didn't get
That-
top up
that-
every
that
chance,
killing
every
people.
chance. You know, when I knock into people who getting it for good reason, but you have some of these people, and it's like they getting it for you know, a frivolous thing. And then when something really bad happened, like, and they really need to top up, they, you know, they jones in for this. I don't know.
Yeah, but
I
find
give
a
up.
solution. This is y'all are the experts. Y'all should be brainstorming, all your relationship managers. What do we do for the economy, for something long term, so we can have good borrowers that will come back and we'll meet our targets, but also help our community start to think.
But
Financial
even in the,
literacy, join with
it,
Krista, all of y'all get together and try to make a difference. Come up with
even in the
something.
sense of, even if
See
it
what
ain't
happening
alone, you
in other
know,
countries. How is
Well,
Netherlands making it work?
I'm actually always marketing. I'm actually always advertising. So, at Scotia, we don't consider ourselves loan officers. It's more personal banking officers. So basically, we're supposed to be giving
y'all
and
ain't gotta
making
make
the
quotas.
customer financially better off. We have to make
Right.
quotas, but
But
it's
Your
really
quota
to make
must
the
be low.
customers financially better off. What? Mm-mm.
okay, but Robert, are you looking at the
Make it
Robert,
laugh.
are you looking at the countries where it's working and getting some ideas from them?
Am
No.
I looking at the countries where it's working?
Yeah, like she said, the Netherlands. Are you looking? Denmark.
No, I've never
Okay,
known.
so start. Okay.
What
If
I
you are
what
no
I try.
personal banking officer other than a
Yes, ma'am.
title, if you are
Yes,
truly
ma'am.
that,
Yes, ma'am.
then you do that. Okay, then you
Yes,
find
ma'am.
a solution. Yes.
All
Okay,
right.
very good. Excellent, excellent. And you all have some very good ideas. And like I say, like-minded people, a few of you said be around like-minded people, brainstorm and leverage off each other's knowledge. Okay, and help each other. That's what we need more of as Bahamians.
I
Okay.
will say though, just for you close, Miss Paulette, I will say, Robert, you can't swing our generation and how they swing the last generation.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
And that's what
No,
I really like about this generation. It's like
yeah, so
it's
it's
like
getting better.
yeah,
You just have to give it time.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
y'all are
there's a
much
lot of
more educated. Y'all are
Right.
much more educated at a younger age.
and yeah, but most things most products I would try to give a customer. I would really try to give a customer more a mortgage. I try have them saving towards because anyway we ain't gonna discuss anything in terms of Scotiabank, but I try to probe the customer to start saving for a mortgage. Try to build that, yes, ma'am, and
Okay,
then
Robert.
probably get a little small facility to
Robert,
boost their credit
Stop.
score. That's it. That's it. Nothing
Yeah.
more.
But Robert, look at what the credit union's doing. They give you a loan
Big
and
And a
interest,
thing of
highest interest
savings.
ever.
Yeah, but the
yeah,
savings is
okay, I'm talking about the good part, not the bad part. This is the good part of the
the
credit
interest.
union.
The
They
interest
give
out the
you a
window.
loan, and if your payment is $200, they tell you bring in $250. That
Yeah.
$50 goes to your
Go
Go on the
towards
savings.
savings.
savings. Yeah. So that
Bahamians
part is
are to the
actually
point.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Bahamians
That's
are
really,
to a
really good.
point where they have to be forced. You know,
Yeah.
more. You have the option to open up the savings account. No, you must.
No, you have to
And
have
even if
savings
we need
account.
to reduce your payment so you can have a savings at the end of this loan, you will have a savings at the end of the loan. That's the
I would
only
Yeah.
just
thing.
like to
And
say,
honestly, that's actually a good
no,
technique.
I would like to
Yeah.
say Commonwealth Bank had tried that initiative, Vanique. I don't know if you could back me. We tried that and the people was mad because the payment was too high.
Yeah,
Because-
so that's what I saying.
And
But
we had to
though?
discontinue.
What though, what I do see that our officers do, or what they try to do is, if a customer comes in for a facility, they would say, okay, we'll give you $5,000, and we, instead of giving you the full five,
Oh, yeah.
we would advise for you to put 2,000 on a fixed account.
Yeah.
And whenever you are in need again, or, you know, instead of coming to us for more money, this is an option. You can look at this as a savings.
Okay, well that's a good
Yeah, it
idea.
is
I mean,
good.
other than your interest so high, but
But the interest
yeah.
hike because the risk though. I mean, I
Yeah.
really,
So-
you know.
Lanique, when you all tried that, you all didn't offer financial literacy to explain the benefits of that savings and
No,
why
we didn't.
you all implemented. You all just say you have to open up a savings.
Yeah,
You just have to
that's
put
true.
$50 there.
That's
You
true.
all didn't say nothing, right? That's why it didn't work. So
And
They
then-
probably
and then
put out
too,
some,
it-
they probably put out some stuff now. They probably put out some, you know, newspaper ads.
If you want to hide something, put it in writing.
That's true. And then what happened? It got there because you know you have to do out a bigger salary deduction, and that was their issue too. Because more was coming out their salary, and it was just
Yeah, but Sydney Jackson isn't that tide selling. Sydney, what is tide selling? I don't know that terminology. What is tide selling?
what is tied selling?
I know I asked in Sydney now.
So I mean, I'm asking it like when you make a customer get another product.
No, but you making them
Oh,
get a
you mean like
savings
cross-
now,
I mean,
not
it's
a loan.
tide selling is when he's saying you're forcing the product, you're enforcing the product on the customer. I think that's what he mean by tide. And he
No,
don't
well,
need the product.
Even
That's
a
what he's
savings?
meaning. He's
no, it
that's
was
what he's
cross selling.
Oh.
tide
It's
selling.
forcing
He's trying to say is
She
forcing the
call that
product, not
cross-selling because she gives customer the option.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
The cross selling is an option, but the tide selling is forcing. Like,
Oh, I
okay, to
never
get
had
this
it
loan,
before. First time I
to
had
get
it.
this loan, I'm gonna give you savings. Like the credit, like you say with the credit union, how they do the loan and you have to have a savings account. Basically, he's saying that's considered tide selling because
Tide
why you
selling.
forcing a
Oh.
product on a customer when
In
But
order
they're
for them to get the
benefiting
next
us.
basically they
one.
only it's
But they have
benefiting, but
benefits.
it's a benefit, but it's still being forced. I mean,
Okay,
which
well,
I
don't
understand.
don't
Well,
don't
don't
put it
get
on
the
a
loan then.
savings. Put it in a GL. Put it anywhere. Don't. But you know what I mean. Create something there. They will receive interest whilst they
Yeah.
paying this loan, or something that'll benefit them in the end. Or like
Zero-
Renee said,
zero
I
one.
give you 4,000 and 1,000 go on fix something. But there has to be a
But
solution.
let's be honest
There
now.
has
If
to
I because the place where I work have a stigma to keep everybody in debt with loans. If I start telling y'all how to save y'all money and things, now y'all gonna believe me. Y'all gonna say,
No.
something fishy with this.
But like I say, start the conversation. Look at Denmark, look at the Netherlands, look at countries that it's working for and see how they made it work. It just starts with somebody making a difference. You know? That's all we have to do.
They send you home.
You know, you're like say you're young.
I just said, Ma, I don't
today.
know. I don't know. I feel like
Well, they send you
I don't
home, but
know. I feel like you have some financial institutions that encourage that, and then
some don't.
But do everything anonymously, that's all. Nobody ever
No,
gotta know it's
child.
you.
Mm-mm.
Them through the
No, but-
generic boxes and leave them in the suggestion box and tell they see the paper hanging out. And
Come,
then say,
Sheila, come for your top
HR
up
need to
again.
check that
Come.
box. Look at that box brimming over. What's going on in here? That's all. They ain't gonna know it's you. You know, it's a bear to skin a cat. Wake around it. You know, but you can't just sit there. You can't sit there waiting till you become the manager or the head of operations to make these changes. You have to start now.
But
Because you on
I
your
even
way.
I would even
You're
like
on
to
your
advise
way.
people not to bring all like when people who get inheritance and sell property. I just want to tell them, don't, you ain't get no interest here. This money sitting
No.
here.
You know, interest nowhere. You know, interest nowhere, but you could teach them how to invest. You know, but
Yeah.
if the more people come, that's your salary, that's your bonus and whatever. And so do it as ethically as you can. You have to fix it. You can't shoo away the customers. You have to find a way to make it ethically correct, morally
Yes, ma'am.
correct. Okay, that's your project from now. In 5 years, when you was the CEO, you can't just start to think about these things. You need a plan. Remember, we talk about planning and scheduling and prepare your way. So when you get there, your job wouldn't be as hard. Imagine trying to start all this stuff 5 years from now. It'll take you 10 years to get there. Okay,
Agreed.
so start now, acting like I could be the CEO of this place one day. I gotta fix this now. That's how your thought process gotta be.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay, guys, very, very good. I'm very pleased. I'm inspired. I'm glad to see all the great ideas that came out of this process. And I'm happy with the participation level. Okay, so any questions or concerns, just let me know next week. Like I said, I'm going to send out the review sheet. Your name is going to be assigned to a question, and I expect you to go through the chapter, see what the possible questions could be for the midterm. The midterm will be in person at the Institute. Okay, Ms. Dean will be expecting you, and we'll go over that. So next week we'll go through chapter 8, and we'll go through the review. Okay, so please look out for the review sheet. And once I send it, please acknowledge that you received it and you're aware of your question. Okay? 10 good points on that chapter. If I say counseling out of chapter 5 or 4, then it'll only be on chapters that we've covered so far. Okay? Okay, guys. Robert, stay behind for me, please, after everybody leaves.
Okay.
Any other questions or concerns?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, I want to know. Sorry, Monica.
Sorry, Benik, you went out. I couldn't hear the question.
No, I didn't ask a question. I was responding. I just say no, ma'am. But that person
Okay.
can go ahead. I don't have any questions.
Oh, no, I was asking if you saw my quiz one. I didn't get a received email back from you.
Okay, I sent you a message in the text.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, any other questions or concerns?
Wow.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
When will we receive the grade for this?
For this, before next class, you received all your grades today, correct? Everybody got their grades today?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so you would have gotten half of your grade already, until you will get the remainder. You got the first percentage out of 100 for submitting, and now I liaise with the cross marker and based on the presentations, and she let me know her thoughts, and you'll get the remainder, the 50%. But so far, I think most of y'all have the 50% already. So excellent job.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
So y'all have a good evening, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Remember, please, to respond that you received the review sheet and acknowledge your question, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Have a good
Bye.
evening.
Good night.
Candice? Robert? Hi, Robert.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think Candice may have walked away and she didn't sign out, so I assigned you to a breakout room. Do you see it?
Breakout from, you sent it to me via email?
No, look right in the chat. You should. It's asking me to move you too, so we'll go to another room. So I'm Candice.
Chat. I'm looking at it now. It gotta be old. I ain't see this.
You don't see it. Okay, let me try something else with Candice. 1 second. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was able to remove her, so that's fine. So
Okay.
yeah, Robert, talk to Miss Bullet, please. But we need to get on the same page. What's
Yes, ma'am.
happening with you? What's going
Yes.
on?
Well, I actually got a bit upset because we was messaging directly, and I just really wanted you to just respond to me. I didn't wanted you to call me out in class like that.
How
You
did I
say
call,
that
how did I call you out last, Robert?
you was like, everyone read the presentation. What does this
Yeah,
say?
but
And I'm like,
I said I asked for a volunteer, right? There was
yes,
3
ma'am.
people left to
Present.
participate or to present. So nobody knew who I was who that message was aimed at. I said, can I have a volunteer? But he volunteered and read it.
Which was understood, but I mean, in terms of, I would have directly sent you a message, meaning you ignored the message and then did that presentation.
No,
So you
Robert,
didn't answer
I
it.
am trying to teach a class and trying to respond to you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you don't know if Vanique, that was meant for her, and you, Clinton, and you. You don't know that, right?
True. I don't
So
know that. No, I don't.
they don't know that either.
That's true. But I mean,
Okay,
based on
so
the
this
time
getting so
it occurred,
upset, but I don't understand you. How are you getting so upset for something that you did wrong?
it wasn't I don't have a problem with you if you did message and say, okay, no, you getting points off for that, or because a late submission you getting points. That's, I wouldn't, I mean, like you say, it clearly states that in the homework assignment, which I read and didn't, and oversight the email, which is understood. But in terms of the time, when I asked, that it just was, I didn't, from my point of view, because now I should have looked at it from your point of view, but from looking at it from my point of view, I was sending you messages, it was ignored, and then I felt as if, okay,
Robert, I teach in a class and I send you 6 messages in the middle of my class trying to be as discreet as possible, and I ignore you.
no, I mean, in terms of when you stopped the entire presentation to tell someone read
No,
that
I
portion.
waited until Krista was finished. I didn't stop the entire presentation, because when we started to talk, Krista was presenting and I waited. We asked Krista questions. We went through the whole thing, and then before Vanique started, because you're not the only person with a problem, I then read it to all who it was applicable to.
Okay, well, from my perspective, it felt directed, and it actually,
Okay, so stop feelings is lie, Robert. Feelings is lie.
which is true, because
Feelings
I
don't
honestly
necessarily
said,
be true.
I felt as if I did submit this is how I'd have felt. If I'd have submit that to the right email, that would not have been read in class. So to me, it felt like it was directed at me.
So what
And
about the other people who didn't submit it? So what would have happened to them?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay,
That's why I
then, so
say
Robert, stop assuming stuff. Ms. Bullet is very upfront and clear. You getting upset about something you did wrong. Okay,
Bullet,
so
I
that's the
honestly,
first problem.
yes, ma'am.
And not only that, you have to understand from my perspective that you ain't submit your first homework. Now there's a second homework you're gonna
so
issue
it
with.
almost looked like it almost looked
Yeah,
like
so
I
who
was,
you mad? But then, Robert, then you're gonna have an attitude like, who you mad at? You should be as humble as possible. Miss Bullet, please, I know you don't, I shouldn't be in any other problems, but no, you got an attitude.
Miss Bullet, I
You
honestly wasn't
draw
mad at
more
you.
attention to yourself.
Miss Bullet, I
Then,
honestly almost wanted to cry and walk out the class.
yeah, but
Honestly,
you cry. Robert, listen to me. Don't say that. Because your attitude is what killed me. Because I gave you a chance. You and some other people in there should not even have presented, because I was clear last week. And I gave you a chance and you come with attitude. I felt very insulted.
Miss Bullet,
and then you
well,
go draw more attention to yourself by not participating. So now you lost your participating points, telling Clinton that you're so mad right now and you are all this. What kind of foolishness this is? You want to be the supervisor? You think you could stand up in front of your manager and run on with that type of unprofessionalism?
Well, in terms of if I directly messaging my supervisor, ain't no excuse would be she doing multiple stuff. She would still directly message me, or we would still have a one-on-one. My matter wouldn't have been addressed like that.
I send 6 messages to you, 4 to somebody else, 3 to somebody else. You are not the only person in the class.
I understand that, but I'm saying from a business perspective of view, from looking at it holistically.
I read it to cut the chat out because I was trying to pay attention, because I had an obligation to my class not to deal with your issues who ain't do what you're supposed to do. I read it out to the 3 people who it was applicable to. In fact, I read it to the entire class. You was the only one who had an attitude. Everybody else was very apologetic. I'm sorry. I appreciate you giving me another chance. But then you go even further and lose the 10 points for participation. So what was the point of me helping you? And I told you that the cross marker was paying attention. So how does that look?
I don't spell it. I apologize. It honestly don't look good. I didn't expect it. That just was unexpected to me. Didn't expect it. And everyone have different personalities.
Yeah, but that's the
That's
wrong
what we learning
personality
in
to
this
have.
class.
Robert, when you wrong, you humble yourself too. Even when you right, try to practice remain humble, be humble.
That's fine.
Okay? Even if you dead right, it takes two people to be in a conflict and two people to argue. But you dead wrong, and you have an attitude. That's just a slap in the face. Right?
Right. That's fine.
So I feel that I only didn't fail you, and I even feel like I overdoing it even having this conversation. But from we met, I felt inspired by you. I felt that you were, you know, an excellent student, and
That's fine.
I'm proud to see. Like I said, my class is normally filled with women, and I'm proud to see that young men are in the class trying to make themselves better.
That's fine.
Okay, and that's the only reason I talking to you.
That's fine.
So please don't get in any more trouble in this class.
No, my apologies, Miss Paulette. Listen,
Yeah.
on all honesty, I looking at everything you send thoroughly, and if it ain't get sent, if I submit it, it just is what it is. I ain't trying to. I can't really take this on too serious. I think I taken this class a little bit in terms of concern when I submitted the homework, because I actually spent the whole week doing that homework, and I researched some quotes. I had a few persons critique my essay. So to me, I honestly, like I say, it was on my error. It was a human error, which was my error, which I fully understand. But
Okay,
I
so
guess
that's
I
the
I
second
took it a
time.
bit
So what
too
happened the
serious.
first time?
The first time I just submitted it. I just submitted it late, and then I noticed you said you have to submit it a day prior to. So I submitted it. Well, I logged into my system because it's from my Scotiabank email. So I had to log on to my system after hours to submit it, because I was critiquing it every day just so I could send it, I guess, to the best of to get the best grade possible, for the last minute, just in case I had an error or two. Just keep reviewing it every day, adding to it, seeing out what I could take out, what I can't take out, what wouldn't contradict what I'm saying. And on the last day, I say, oh, it's 10 something, I really need to send this before I forget. So I go on my email. I finally got onto my Scotia system because I am not to work, so I have to go through uh, I would say a secured internet VPN, and I was able to get on. So I submitted it while I had the chance, and then I say, okay, tomorrow I just have to prepare myself to present, and that's what. And then when I see you directly message me, and I just wanted to know if points was off, and then I see you did.
Yeah, but
So
that was my first problem because I didn't see you message me. And I was left wondering if you in this class or what.
yeah, because
And I
I
felt insulted that I had to message you.
it's
You
fine.
want to be the supervisor, these behaviors have to change. You already made a mistake. You are aware of the mistake you made, and there's no, I'm sorry, Mrs. Bullard. I sent it to the wrong email. Will I still be able to present? So I didn't know what was going on because I didn't receive a homework.
Yes, ma'am.
So try to be proactive when you make a mistake.
Yes, ma'am.
Remember now, you have to lead other people. Would you accept this behavior from one of your subordinates?
Well, no, ma'am, I wouldn't accept that behavior, but
Okay.
I guess, yeah, I wouldn't accept that behavior, no, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So,
Okay. So Robert, there's still hope. Um, do your best in the midterm to pull up your grades because these things are created to boost your grade. very easy
Yes,
to get,
ma'am.
like I say, 100% in both the homework and the presentation. Very easy, but you know, hopefully you do very well in the midterm, and you'll get some boost there for your grade if
Yes.
you know, continue on.
Okay, yes,
Which I
ma'am.
hope I hope you do, because you have a lot of potential. You
Pardon, say
just
that
have
again?
to fix. I said, which I hope you do, because you have a lot of potential.
Yes, ma'am.
You just have to, you know, one or two things that could be fixed. That's all.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay,
Yes,
Robert.
ma'am.
So we'll see you next week. Okay. So take care of yourself, and I hope you feel better.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right.